Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Brad, and today I have the leg lock legend, the straight ankle specifically leg lock legend, that is D-Boy. And I want to give a shout out to our sponsor today, Vedinian. If you guys like horror and like anime and all that good stuff and creative writing, his website is linked down below. Awesome stuff there. Check it out. What's good, homie?
Not much. How are you doing?
Yo, I'm all right, man. Yo, so I wanted to ask you a question.
What's up?
If you were gonna do your next fight to win, what's the walkout song you're coming out to?
Walkout sound, probably the same one that I just walked out to. This 20 Miles by Deer Tick.
Okay.
It's so
Why?
good.
Why is that?
Because it's a song that I would probably die to. So for walkouts, I don't want to be too pumped up. I need to keep it in between pumped up and like calm. But if you're too calm, you go out there and you're gonna fall asleep on the mat and get your ass kicked. Too pumped up, you go out slapping your knees, slapping your chest. Sometimes you get your ass kicked and that's embarrassing. So I always think songs that I would, if I'm sitting alone and the world's burning and it's time to die, these are the songs that I want. That's what I walk out to. And right now, this is just like the perfect song. Not too slow, but most of it is just a calm, nice walkout song.
I feel you. What makes a bad walkout song? Like, what's the worst walkout song you've seen, like, at an event?
So anything that doesn't fit you. Like, you have to go by what you look like. I can't walk out to, like, heavy rap music because even if I want to, it doesn't fit me. How am I going to come out to something that, like, I never experienced or don't even know what the words are really mean or anything, just based on the beat? It has to fit you. And my, like, past songs, the Pokemon theme fit me.
Hell yeah.
Madonna fit me. And then this one, I think
before, like you mentioned, you also walked out to Ace of Base.
Right.
That's
all these songs
metal,
are perfect. Now, I have used rap songs because I didn't pick a song and they randomly played it.
Yeah.
But those, you could tell how awkward I am walking out to the song. Because sometimes I'm even awkward walking out to my own song, but it fits.
Yeah.
Where if it's something serious, then I look out of place. So someone who's under 165 pounds should probably stay away from, like, the heavier stuff. They need a more calm stuff. Someone who's above 170 or whatever, then they have more to choose from. Yeah. And it's different. You're bigger, you fit the thing. You have a big beard, you can come out to, like, killer music.
Yeah.
If you have glasses, skinny, and you look unassuming, then
you gotta come out to some Logic or something.
Right. Well, not even that. That's still too much.
That's still too much.
Yeah, you gotta go, like, really soft pop stuff.
That's funny. I'll take it. All right, I'm with that. I only ever was able to walk out to, like, a legitimate promotion once, and I chose a song by a guy named Jason Richardson. He's like a guitar virtuoso thing. I just feel like that fit me pretty well, but I think you're on the nose with it, because I've seen some people come out. You ever see where, like, two people at the same event pick the same walkout song?
Yeah, many times.
That's the worst.
And it's
How
usually
unoriginal.
the rapping or the hard stuff. Now, if you pick a song and you've been using it for so long, and you've been doing it for years, and it doesn't fit you, then okay, suffer through it. Keep using it, because that's cool if you always walked out to the same song.
Yeah.
But if it's changed every other time, then try to pick something that fits you. But then don't go over the top, because there's people who try to be funny and use, like, silly songs. That pisses me off more than the heavier stuff.
But you came out to some Ace of Base, bro.
That's not silly. That's good.
All right. I'll fuck with it.
There was no part of me that thought, oh, I'm trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Like, I liked the song. It was in Full House.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a good in-between song. Now there's people who come out to, like, chipmunks singing stuff. That's not.
Oh yeah.
That's
or, like,
annoying.
I think I've heard the Barbie.
Right.
Barbie
if you're
girl
doing
thing.
it to be weird, then don't do it, because then that's the same as someone who's looks tough and then is using this weird song to be funny. It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Then you stay away from it. But I think I get away with it because I'm different looking and I'm not doing it to be funny.
Do you think it matters differently on jiu-jitsu versus, like, UFC, kind of MMA, Bellator kind of things?
Oh, definitely, because there are songs that I wanted to walk out to, but the intros were like 2 minutes long. And that the grappling stuff, they're not going to let you stand back. They're saying, hold on, it's the parts coming up soon. UFC though, well, not all of them, but a lot of them you can wait at least a little bit.
If you're on the main card, you can take your time walking down.
Because I think Connor walks out to a pretty cool song that's like slower and stuff, but it takes time to build up.
Yeah.
But he has as much time as he wants.
Yeah.
If you're doing a fight to win, you have 10 seconds to walk up that thing. The song, my song, it takes like 15 seconds to get going. So like by the time it's on to what I want, I'm taking my socks off. I didn't even get to enjoy it. But it's not as bad as some songs. It's literally 2 minutes in and they haven't started.
Yeah.
That's where it's different with MMA. In wrestling, they clip the music, so that's cool. But
they grab like the chunk that's
right,
the hype part.
So it goes right into it, but they're not going to do that for little things like this.
Yeah. I think something about like WWE that I really like is they have like theme song. Like the Big Show has his own song and shit, you know what I mean? Let's make sure we're close to the mics here. I see someone saying the volume's not adequate. But that's cool. Yeah, man. So and speaking of like WWE, like I was walking around the gym a little bit like before you came today, and I see like you have like, it's so cool. I wish I might rotate the camera at the end of the video or something to show them the vibe in here. But you have pictures of like so many people that have trained here, and like Matt Riddle being one of them, and he's like a WWE guy. So can you like touch on like some of the bigger people that have come out of Rat Pack? Yeah,
so the 3 biggest MMA fighters would be Matt Riddle's number 1, UFC and WWE. Then we had Joel Roberts would be our second biggest MMA fighter. He fought in Bellator. He had like a 9-5 record, fought a bunch of UFC vets, Sterling, Jeff Lentz, a bunch of other people. And then number 3 would be Brett Martinez. He fought in Bellator, and he had like at one point was like 6-1 record. All 3 of them don't train here as much anymore. Joel's the only one that actively still comes in. The other 2, well, Matt's busy, and Brett, I don't know what happened to him. But Joel comes in every now and then, but not as active as he used to be.
Yeah. Do they have different home gyms now? Like, are they like running any gyms? Or
Joel's just taking a break from the training. He has 3 kids now.
Oh yeah.
Matt
getting old.
Obviously doesn't. I don't know what he's doing with WWE, but he's doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brett, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. So this gym, like Rat Pack, was not always in this really convenient thing that we'll get into later.
Right.
But so it was pretty close to here.
It was about 2 blocks down. Yeah. The gym that we used to be at was, I would say, 4 or 5 times as big as this one, but not nearly as nice, not even close.
So the quality.
Right. The quality is way better now. It's smaller, which I like. If it's too big, 1, it takes forever to clean. 2, there's too much stuff to keep track of. And 3, it's a waste of space. You're too far away from people when you're trying to teach and stuff. This is perfect. You have everything you need, but it's not too small either.
Yeah, I think it's pretty intimate. Like, I haven't been here for like a large open mat, but like we were training, like ramping up to my last Fuji thing and the Bulldog choke at that Fight to Win event, which was epic as fuck. I really like this thing, the framed hole.
The collage.
Yeah, the collage. I guess that is the name of that ordeal. Why it says like 26,000 views?
Oh yeah, my dad put that.
That's awesome. No, man, that's super cool. So what about having like an intimate space like this? Do you think is good about being a like really active competitive jiu-jitsu practitioner?
Well, the main thing is, like we said, it's the quality is better. Like at the old gym, it was way bigger, but we had puzzle mats. Things looked a little dirty sometimes. Things were broken. And here, once things break, we get rid of them. Once they're dirty, obviously get clean. We have all brand new stuff, so this is a lot better as opposed to the old gym where it was a lot bigger, but if you don't have as nice stuff, what's the point?
Yeah.
I'd rather smaller than bigger, but have better stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The better quality equipment, that's going to bring more people in than the fact that it's a huge place.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I personally really like tight training spaces as well, because I feel like you get the most out of the space when it's tuned to, like you just said, like everything is, exactly what you need. It's brand new. The quality is good, so you don't have to like worry about like, let's not do takedowns today because it's puzzle mats kind of thing. Like here, you can eat shit pretty hard.
And with
be all right.
jiu-jitsu, it's a little different than MMA. You don't need as much room. We don't do as much MMA anymore as we used to. We used to have a ring, a cage, 2 rooms for grappling, which if you're striking and doing everything, then maybe you need that space. But now, if we do have MMA guys, it's going to be only a handful, so this is fine.
Yeah.
Where jiu-jitsu, even if it's huge, you usually can roll with a good amount of people in a small space.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, right? So you haven't done MMA like in a showcase environment or anything like that, but you have done combat jiu-jitsu,
I've done
right?
combat jiu-jitsu, right? And I've done striking competitions and wrestling. So I've done everything except for the mix of all of them.
Yeah. So you've done striking? What did you do?
I did karate for a while, and then I did a couple.
It was like point karate?
Yeah, unsanctioned, obviously, like when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, like little MMA exhibition fights. But obviously they weren't real because we were younger and it wasn't sanctioned.
Yeah, that checks out. Was that in PA?
Yeah, it would happen at my gym.
Oh, nice.
So my dad would put on little super shows,
okay.
right?
Yeah,
just
that
like
makes sense.
back then, there was no events at all. It was just like one Naga every 3 or 4 months. So you have a couple gyms come up and then do super fights, what they would be now, and did a couple like underground MMA stuff, a couple kickboxing things.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So you've been training basically your whole like life, like from being a preteen, right? Like,
Right. Started in 2000. Originally striking, doing karate, competed with that. Then I started wrestling in 2nd grade. Started competing with that. Up until 4th grade, I was just striking and wrestling. Started doing jiu-jitsu because my parents bought our karate studio that we were at, turned it into a MMA gym.
Nice.
But I wasn't doing it like the kids are nowadays. So you get kids who are training 6 days a week. I was doing like once every other week. Up until 9th grade, it was just fooling around training. 9th grade's when I thought I wanted to be a UFC MMA fighter.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, now I got to start focusing on everything, really getting it all together. I was competing in jiu-jitsu quite a bit, wrestling, obviously, and the striking. Then my senior year hit, and that's when everything changed. I ended up quitting everything, wrestling, striking, MMA, jiu-jitsu. Stopped everything for a good year. Ended up coming back. Wrestling I couldn't do anymore because I wasn't in high school. I didn't want to do MMA because that's what caused the issues I was having, getting beat up and concussed and stuff. So I was like, I'll just do jiu-jitsu for fun. Ended up getting back into competition. Lost every match for a year. Submitted 10 seconds every time. And then 2014 came and everything changed for some reason. That's when I started doing it full-time. 14, 15, 16, and 17. That was my go hard with jiu-jitsu. I competed the most in that time frame, and that's when I loved it the most and thought I needed it more than anything. Ended up breaking my hand 2017, taking off 6-7 months, coming back, and things definitely slowed down after that injury to where I'm not doing it full-time anymore and not as into it as I was for those few years before.
That's interesting. So you're actually more well versed in like the scope of martial arts like than I even thought.
Right.
With all that in mind.
Just so people know, I suck at striking.
Yeah.
So don't think I'm good at anything. I was mediocre at wrestling, and I'm okay at jiu-jitsu.
Oh my god, this fucking guy.
Grappling's definitely my strength out of the 3, but I wouldn't say I'm amazing at any of them.
All right, fair enough, I guess, man.
Striking, I'm one of the worst people I've ever seen. If we did MMA and you saw me strike, you'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. And that's part of the reason I don't fight and part of the reason I got beat up. My ground striking's good, but my boxing and kickboxing is terrible.
Well, the combat jiu-jitsu that you did, you won that match.
It was a draw.
No.
Yeah.
I thought you bitch slapped the fuck out of the guy.
It went to a draw. He got me a couple good times, too.
Okay.
But it was definitely even. It was a 5-minute match, and it was definitely right down the middle. He had more submission attempts than I did. I had more slaps. Both had 1 takedown, so it was completely even. Depends what you were looking for.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like, I think we discussed that before, and you were saying, like, if it was an MMA fight, you would have won.
Right, if it was jiu-jitsu, he would have definitely won.
Yeah, interesting dynamic. Would you ever do a street beefs?
I would do anything if the right circumstances happened. Like, I would go out there and do a boxing if it was against someone that it was going to get me attention or, like, I had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the situation.
What if it was like
person.
an MMA fight in Satan's backyard or whatever?
Maybe on street beefs, but it had to be either someone really, really, really good or someone really, really, really shitty. I wouldn't want an in-betweener that's not going to get me any attention.
Yeah.
That's the same why I don't fight, and I never went back to MMAs because I was facing the best in jiu-jitsu. Why am I going to go back down to face nobodies in MMA?
Yeah. No,
Especially when I
sense.
could get knocked out. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, the stakes are higher.
Right.
That makes sense. So you would never do like a sanctioned like MMA fight though because of that. Like if they gave you like a good match where you could make some money
or got a lot of attention,
yeah,
I would 100% do it. Or if it was 100%, I'm gonna win. So either I want to be a huge underdog to where if I lose, I don't lose anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, that's fine. Or a huge favorite where there's no chance of me losing. I don't want those tough guys that could beat me, but no one knows.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with jiu-jitsu right now. Is I don't want to face people who they could and probably would beat me, but I would get no attention for. There's people who would get me more attention that would be way easier matches.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that's what I look for.
Do you feel like in your experience you've had a lot of matches where you picked them because it was like a big name and that's why you picked the match, like when you
100%. Yeah, like I would look for because I wanted win-win situations.
Yeah,
People would be like, "You're crazy for fighting these people." I'm like, "No, I'm doing it because I am actually being smart and not risking my reputation." Because before I wanted to be, like I said, MMA fighter or full-time jiu-jitsu, I wanted to get the followers. So I knew taking the harder matches would get me attention and taking the easier matches would get me attention. But the in-betweens is where it would get hard.
What's one of the matches that you've had where you were surprised that you won because you thought maybe the cards were stacked against you?
I'm trying to think. So, well, Malachi Edmond was one of my biggest wins. Jamal Taylor Hill was one of my biggest wins. A bunch of other people who would kill me now. But I went in as an underdog every time and was able to pull it out. Now, there's times where I went in as an underdog and still got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. And I did better than people thought. Against Gordon, people thought I was going to get killed in 10 seconds. I had him I grabbed his face for 1 second, and I'm like, that's good enough for me, right?
Oh, my God. Why don't you straight ankle him?
I couldn't get anything on him. He took 2 shots where I had him in a guillotine, but it wasn't tight.
Yeah.
It was just a face crush. But it looked tight. Some people were like, you had something. I'm like, I had something.
That's funny as hell. Do you think his leg game was as prominent as it? I mean, obviously not, but was it a significant threat to you?
Yeah, he would have leg locked me in 10 seconds. Back then, I didn't think so because I didn't think I could be leg locked until a year later when I got my ankle snapped by John Kalstein. And that's when I started losing by heel hook a lot. I had 2013 was like the first time I ever got heel hooked, and I have like 15, 16 losses in that 1 year by heel hook.
Yeah.
Then I didn't get leg locked again until 2016. And then from 16 on, almost every loss has been heel hook for me.
Nice.
Because I'm scared of it now because of John.
Yeah, that's funny. So I'm not going to ask you which leg it is, actually.
It's my ankle and my knee are both the right side. So if you want to tap me, go for my right side. You can see the video, so it doesn't really matter. You can go and watch
if someone's
see
fighting
as
you
soon
and
as they
wanna
grab
do
the right
homework.
leg, it's usually over. But I can pop my ankle in and out, so I'm a little less likely to tap to the ankle lock to that side.
That's the craziest shit ever.
Because it's been snapped. Now the knee, I'll tap in 10 seconds. So, if you want to beat me, it's very easy to look up how to beat me. Either leg lock me or take my back and choke me out. Those are the 2 easy ways. And it's been done 200-something times, I think. Oh, no, 100-something times I've been beat. So.
Jesus, man. That's crazy. So, what... So, your record, like you said, when you were first starting out was pretty rough. And then... last time we had a conversation, you discussed that there was like a catalyst in the last couple years that happened that made you better at jiu-jitsu.
Right.
That wasn't necessarily a jiu-jitsu situation.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to talk about that story?
this happened only a year ago, and it's not that it changed my winning percentage and stuff, but it's changed the way I rolled. So it was a Christmas party last year for my dad's law office, and me and my girlfriend, it's a rainy night, we're driving down, and we see this thing, and I'm like, oh, it's a wolf. Look, there's a wolf in the road. We pull up, and it's not a wolf. It turns out to be a dog. So my girlfriend, if you know her, Kayla, she's obsessed with dogs. Jumps out of the car right away, and I'm like, oh, no. She's going to try petting it. I get out of the car, realize it's a pit bull, and now I'm starting to feel a little hesitant, but Kayla's already committed. Already is going up to it. So I'm like, oh, God. Open the door, jumps right into the car. So I'm like, shit, now what? So I go up, we go in the car. The dog's curled up in the back seat, and we're sitting there with the dog. It's nice as can be, licking us, laying on us. We're petting it. It's adorable. It's really, really cute. So we decide we're going to take it to the Christmas party, and we're going to put it in our basement and try to figure out something to do. So we go to the Christmas party. We get in. I have a dog already, Enrique. I'm not sure where he was, but the dogs didn't see each other. We slipped the dog downstairs, and we gave it food, water, everything. We start making calls. The dog is literally listening to everything we say. We say sit, he sits. He's curling up in a blanket. We gave it food, water. He's licking, cuddling. Nice, one of the nicest dogs I ever met. So I start to think, I don't want to get rid of it right now because I like it, and if no one's gonna take it, then
you don't want it to go like
to a bad shelter or whatever. Yeah. So we decide we're gonna skip the party. We're staying downstairs the whole night with it, which people weren't happy about to begin with. But we decide that we're gonna take it back to my apartment and we're gonna keep it for the night and then figure out what to do with it the next day. Because we had people saying that it was their dog, and then 5 minutes later, like, oh wait, no, it's not. So then I didn't trust anyone. And then we called a couple of shelters, but they couldn't come out that night. So we come back to the apartment, and if you know me, I have OCD, so the dog's not coming up to my apartment. But in the same building is the office that my dad has. So I'm like, we'll just sleep in the office. It'll be great. So I take the dog in the office. Kayla goes upstairs. I'm playing with the dog. Everything is going amazing. I'm setting up our beds. Next thing you know, we have hamsters, and they just start running on the wheel. And the dog's eyes change, and it snaps. Charges the hamsters, okay? At this point, it's not, like, real vicious, but it's not the dog that we've been with the whole night.
Yeah.
The one that's been cuddling, kissing us. So I'm a little nervous because I know my dad's going to be pissed if those hamsters get eaten. So I grab the thing, and I'm running around. And I'm, like, have the container above my head, and the dog starts not nipping, but, like, trying to get the hamsters. So I'm getting a little freaked out because we don't know anything about it. It didn't have tags or anything, so it could have rabies. So it's like biting a little bit, dragging on my shirt. I'm trying to get away. I start to panic at this point, and now I learned. I've been watching this guy. I forget what his name is. He's dog fixer. He goes in to bad dogs and like makes them good or tells the people what they're doing wrong with the training.
The dog whisperer?
Yeah. I forget what his name is.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know. I the only reason like I maybe know the name is from like South Park. So I don't want to say the wrong name.
If we said it, I don't know. But anyways, now watching back, I did the completely wrong thing. I started like yelling at the dog, screaming like scared. The dog starts to get a little bit more vicious. At this point, it's growling. It's pushing me over, and I don't know what to do. And I see this ledge. It's a good 6 feet. I put the hamsters on the ledge, and I'm like, whew, that was amazing. Good high. I'm like, I'm out of this now. I'll get the dog. Next thing you know, dog jumps from the thing, floor, straight up, feet first onto the thing that's 6 foot. I, at this point, think that I'm about to die. So I grab the hamster cage, and I'm running around. At this point, it's now a fight, all right? So the dog's now getting more vicious, not trying to hurt me.
Just trying to hurt the
But
hamsters.
it wants to eat the hamsters now. So at this point, I'm like, all right, jiu-jitsu mode. I'm starting thinking about leg locks, arm bars, what I could go for. I get taken down once or twice. So at this point, if it is a match, it's 4-0, him up. I get behind the door, and I'm pushing as hard as I can. It rams me down again. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So at this point, my jiu-jitsu is not working, and I'm thinking I got to go wrestling. So the dog ends up jumping and landing in my arms. I jumped the dog on its head, and now I'm scoring points. Now it starts to get pissed off.
Now I'm scoring points.
Ends up biting the hamster cage in half. So now I'm running around with 2 parts of a hamster cage.
Holy shit.
Thinking about the score of this match, 6-2, and trying to think of submissions that are going to work. Because I'm looking at these legs. There's no way I'm getting on its legs. So now I'm thinking I got to get to the throat or the neck and go for like a guillotine. I'm running around, and it's getting hard to move. The dog starts to get crazy, goes onto a statue, breaks it, starts ripping up my dad's flowers, kicking stuff everywhere. Phones are flying all over the place. So now I'm like, oh, shit, I need to get out of this room because now it's getting bad. I am getting scratched and nipped at this point. I slip out of the room somehow. I put the hamster thing down, and I'm like, oh, my God. I look down, no hamsters.
Oh, man.
So at this point, I got out of the room. And I survived the fight. I didn't win, but I survived. We go up. I call the police. The police come, and they're like, you have 2 options. You keep the dog, or you let it go on the road. And at this point, I don't want to let it go on the road. It's going to die. So I'm like, we end up finding a shelter about like an hour away or something, driving in the middle of the night. And as soon as the dog gets back in the car, it's completely fine. Cuddling with Kayla again, licking us, and it's the nicest dog ever. So then I'm starting to think it was just a fluke. Something happened with the hamsters, and it won't happen again. So now I'm starting
So wait, where's the hamsters?
we never found the hamsters. So we leave them because at this point, I don't even know. I'm not even worried about the hamsters. I'm worried about my dad's trashed office and me with the rabies. So then we get to the thing, and as soon as it saw another dog, we had a guy who was like 200 pounds with us. It whipped out of the guy's hand. He tackled the dog, rolled him over. So now my girlfriend's now witnessing how vicious the dog was.
Because she didn't believe you?
No, she thought I was dramatic because maybe I was being a little dramatic with the cuts because I said I had to go to the hospital because I had little scratches. But it was vicious. And then she was scared. And the guy was scared. The owner of the shelter was scared. So we dropped the dog off.
So how many points did the dog score on this guy?
It would have been 4-0.
Damn,
they would have pinned him if it was a wrestling match. He did get it back, though, so I had to give him credit there. Gets it into the shelter. We leave. We come back. We find the hamsters on the floor. So that's great. I'm now panicking about rabies. I go to the hospital, and they're like, if you do have rabies, you're going to die this week. So I'm like, what the fuck? Give me the rabies shots. They're like, we don't have them here. So then I had to go to a second hospital. This is all in 24 hours. So I ruined my dad's Christmas party, destroyed his office, got in a fist fight that I lost with the pit bull, almost lost hamsters, and now could have rabies. Go to a second hospital. They tell me I'm fine. Said I'm being dramatic, which, okay.
Yeah.
Ends the story there. But I learned from that experience that with the jiu-jitsu stuff, I need to play a different game. It's not about being entertaining. It's not about going out there and doing these fancy moves. It's about doing what works, surviving. So now, after that, I've gone into the 3 matches I had since that incident with the mindset that I'm fighting for my life and fighting an animal, which I then go out and I don't make stupid moves. I don't gas out. I'm conservative. And when I go for damage, I'm going to get damage off as much as I can in order to either survive or win the fight. So the 2 things I learned from this were get as much damage off as possible, and 2, don't worry about winning and being entertaining, worry about surviving. And it's worked out perfect. 3-0 in this year, all 1-minute matches, all because I was able to have this experience fighting this dog that now I know in a life or death situation, panicking or going for these fancy moves isn't going to help. So I've used it and applied it to competition.
That's fucking epic.
And I got 2 tattoos for the experience of like big cats to remember that no matter how tough you think you are, jiu-jitsu is not going to help. If it's a jiu-jitsu match, great. If it's maybe an MMA fight, great. Fighting an animal, street fight, weapons, none of it's going to help at all.
At all?
At all.
I don't know, man.
At all. I'm saying it.
Oh, man.
I've been doing this for so long, and I am not confident on the street or against an animal. I was confident against animals before, and maybe even on the street, but after this experience, my confidence in everything is gone. And it should be the opposite because now I'm going out and fighting better than I ever have. Even in training, I'm doing better and catching things that I wouldn't have got because I'm not forcing or trying to be entertaining.
That's interesting. What happened to the hamsters, though?
Hamsters are still alive, and we still have them.
You
so
found them.
I saved them, found them. I saved 3 animals that night. The 2 hamsters, 4 maybe. The dog and possibly the bunny that we had at the time. And I'm just lucky that the dog didn't see Enrique and try to eat him because who knows what would have happened there. Then I would have had to fight to the death.
Yeah. That's so interesting. My girlfriend has a dog, and I always like grab him up and hug him, and I'm like, man, I wonder if like a head and arm choke would even work on like your gangly ass legs.
It depends on the animal and the situation. I wasn't getting anything on this dog. It had me beat every way, so I wasn't winning. I might as well make it out of the fight and show the dog, like, get its respect a little bit. Like, you didn't kill me. Like, that's in competition. If I'm going to lose, I want the person to respect me and be like, shit, that sucked.
Yeah.
He got damage off, and he was tough as shit. Respect, damage, survive. 3 keys.
I fuck with that. So, do you think it's like exclusive to pit bulls? Like, pit bulls are like the worst dogs, do you think, to get into an encounter like this with?
I'd rather fight a pit bull than a German Shepherd. If this was a German Shepherd, I would have been... I don't even know if the guy would have been able to get it because this dog was a big dog but a small pit bull. So it wasn't like if you would have saw it, you'd been like, oh my god, this kid's so dramatic. But it was an animal and it was a pit bull, so
yeah, it had all the stats.
It was bulky and it had a nice jump, 6-foot jump.
Yeah, I mean it must have been an athlete to fucking pull that off.
Right.
That's funny. So if you why German Shepherd? I would think you think a German Shepherd's more intimidating than a pit bull.
100%.
I guess cops use German Shepherds.
German Shepherds are probably the scariest looking dog for me. I've had bad experience with dogs all my life. Almost got hit by a car because I just ran across the street without looking, scared of them. I had 3 different people bring me to their house and say, "Oh, my German Shepherd's nice," and end up I had to sit in a room the whole time because it's gonna attack me and it won't stop biting or barking at me. My mom was bit by a Rottweiler once inside of her old gym.
Rottweilers.
I never told you that one.
Yeah.
This guy brought the dog in. She had a water bottle, and it used to chew on water bottles again, I guess, and it bit right through her wrist.
And she was like bleeding?
Yeah, she actually had to go to the hospital, and they were serious about that one. They didn't take mine very serious because I didn't have any open wounds. But
yeah, that's funny.
And I had to go to therapy when I was younger for dogs.
Why?
Because I was so scared of them.
That's crazy.
And
for what? What was your early experience with the dog? Like,
my neighbor had this like Eskimo-looking dog, and it was just so
like a Eskimo dog. What?
Yeah, I don't know what
like
it was.
A husky?
No, it wasn't a husky. It was like a puffball.
Saint Bernard.
No, I think it's called something Eskimo. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was like a white puffball.
All right.
And I would go over there, and every time it'd come out, I would run across the street. So it was getting very dangerous to where I almost got hit that one time. So when I went to therapy and ended up getting a dog.
Yeah.
And that's when it changed for a while, but then still not a fan of dogs that much.
That's funny.
I love my dog, but
no one else's dog. That's funny as hell. Man. So if you, what do you think is the most dangerous animal to fight? Like land animal?
So it all depends on different things. So like there are animals that you are going to kill, but they might kill you. But then there's animals that are scarier, but you actually have a chance against, maybe. I would not want to fight a hyena. That is my number one because I feel like no matter what, I'm getting fucked up. But then, like, there's things like a snake. I could definitely kill a snake.
Yeah.
But it could kill me. Like,
with the neurotoxins.
We both die, so then it's a draw. So it all depends on what situation. But then there's something like an elephant, which is bigger, but I don't know. I might be able to kill it with a gun or something.
Yeah, but no, like let's say like you were out and you have like a spear or something. Like you're out in the wilderness and all you have is a spear. Maybe like a spear in like your bare hands, maybe a knife.
Any type of cat or dog is going to be a bad fight because it's literally going to beat you in every aspect. Like an elephant, maybe I could outrun or climb a tree and like throw things at it.
I don't know, bro. Elephants are strong as fuck.
I know this is a bad example,
like,
but
have you seen what elephants can do with their trunks?
Or like a
they
cow
have so
or
much
something.
Dexterity,
They're
bro.
bigger, but I think I could take them out. But like, I'm gonna have to literally fist fight a cat or or like a dog type thing. I have a friend who wrestles alligators sometimes, and he says he can beat them.
What?
So.
He fucking wrestles alligators? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's crazy. But
he's like a Florida guy?
Well, he's from here, but he said he went to Florida and wrestled alligators.
That's the craziest shit.
But I'd rather fight
an
alligator than a hyena, a lion, a tiger. I get behind, I could do some damage at least.
I remember I was in Louisiana earlier this year, and it was the first time like I got really intimately close with alligators that aren't at like a fucking zoo or something.
Right.
And I remember like my uncle had like marshmallows, and he was like, we're going to feed them marshmallows because apparently in Louisiana, alligators, like marshmallows to alligators is like crack.
Mm-hmm.
So we were I was pegging them in the fucking head, and they were just like, I want the fucking, it was so funny. And then I'm like we went on this fucking tour, and I was just like watching these alligators. Like we were in one of those fan boats. I don't know what the fuck they're called. It's like a big fan in the back.
Right.
And I was just like looking at some of these alligators. I'm like, man, like how big could it be before I couldn't fuck it up?
Right.
Because like they move awkwardly, right? But in the water, like I would not want fucking smoke from an alligator in the water.
Then there's the little animals like in Thailand, those monkeys. Like at least with a big animal, you could have a fighting chance, like you grab a hold of them. But if like these little monkeys are all over me, how are you gonna like?
Oh, like more than one, like
right.
macaque or something.
And they like
macaque,
biting at you with
called.
these rabies and stuff. It's really hard to
They're doing
grab a hold of
biological
something.
poison damage.
Yeah, I had a rat once run up my leg. That scared the shit out of me, and it's a small animal. But I can't imagine tons of like monkeys, and then you got all your like chimpanzees and stuff. Those would not be good fights either.
No, dude, fucking like humans are like apes, but like actual apes are so fucking strong, dude.
I'd rather fight an ape though than any of the cats, because it'll be more like fighting a person at least. Do apes eat people? I know they will kill them, but do they actually eat them for food and stuff? No, I don't think so, right?
Did you see the dude that fucking like strangled the fucking mountain lion or whatever? I don't know. I wouldn't want to fuck with a cat because I feel like even if you got your hands around the fucking neck, like and pinned it down with like neon belly,
right?
Like it's still gonna be fucking clawing.
It's gonna you're gonna take damage.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna take damage with a gorilla because there's that one story.
They're doing blunt damage all day, and they probably bite hard as fuck.
It ripped off the lady's fingers and destroyed her face
they're
and
strong
stuff.
as fuck,
but for some reason, I feel like the gorilla is like a black belt. Where if I lose, it's whatever. Where those cats, people be like, you have a chance against the cat, but those are the purple belts that could beat you any day. So I'd rather just fight the black belt and take my chances than risk it against something where.
Yeah. It's so funny. It's like your whole fucking philosophy on everything.
Right.
But why the I think, man, like you would rather fight a hyena than like a mountain lion?
No, hyena's my number one worst. Like,
the worst.
Just because they seem
man.
so tough.
Mountain lions are...
Like, I probably have a better chance of killing that than most of the other animals I would pick over, right?
Man. I think, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I think you're pretty, like, spot on. Hyenas are pretty fucked up, dude.
Yeah, they're vicious.
They'll eat shit while it's alive.
Right.
Like, they'll be eating your guts while you're still, like, fucking alive and shit.
I just feel like it would be the toughest fight.
Yeah.
I'd be getting tossed around. It'd be rough. The others might kill me quick, too. I feel like it's going to be dragged out.
Yeah.
Even if I win, lose, whatever, it's going to be a rough fight. Where if the lion gets me on the neck or whatever, it's over quick.
No, I think the worst one's a bear.
The bear?
A fucking like grizzly bear or
See,
brown
I'm not
bear.
scared. I'd rather go against the bear.
No,
I don't know why.
Bro. Bears are so much like bears like combining of fucking all three.
Right.
It's got the strength of like an ape. It's got the claws of a fucking cat, and it's got the bite force of a dog.
Just something with hyenas.
Yeah.
I think they're so... I respect them more.
Yeah.
If a bear here.
Well, hyenas are big as shit. Like, have you seen, like, one in person?
Not
like,
in person.
There's a museum that, like, has taxidermied animals from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, they're fucking huge.
Yeah.
They're like small horses almost. Like those little pygmy horse things. I don't know what the fuck they're called. It's like the size of a donkey.
Yeah,
it's bigger than a dog.
About.
It's like way bigger than a dog.
When I respect something, I end up getting in my head that it's worse than it is, and I respect the hyenas.
Yeah,
I have
they're
a little
just ruthless.
less respect.
And they're laughing at you all that you're dying and shit.
Right.
Oh,
for the
disrespect.
bears. So any bears out there, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it's just like, which way would I rather die? like I'd rather go against the bear than get mauled by the hyena. They both will suck, but I'm picking to fight the bear.
Man, I don't know. I wonder, like, my question is, which animal can I hurt and it'll fucking run away? Because it's like, all right, like, I got too much damage off on me.
Right.
Or, like, does them getting one bite on me and the bloodlust just convince them that, like, I'm dying or I'm eating this guy?
Right. It also depends on what your goal is to do. If you just want to kill it and then don't care about what's happening to you, then everything changes.
I guess.
If you don't care about
is
killing
it a Coliseum situation or a survival
right.
situation?
Like, if they put you in and say you both are going to die, fight out who's going to die first, then it's different. But if you just want to get out and survive, then the whole thing's different. And then it's if you want to survive and kill them, all different options here.
Yeah, it's like the difference between striking, jiu-jitsu, and
exactly.
MMA. Drawing so many parallels here.
Yes,
it's so funny, man. All right, man. Let's go into some other shit. So let's talk about some of the logos around here and shit. So you have your like Ash Ketchum D-boy situation. We got the Rat for Rat Pack fighting system. I'm kind of curious to like what is the background story to all of these insignias and such.
So the Rat Pack is based off the music group, the Rat Pack, Frank Sinatra or whatever.
Oh shit!
I don't really
that explains the suit.
Know much about them, but my dad loves them, and they began with like 4 guys or whatever, and they just were like called themselves the Rat Pack, and that's how that happened. The Ash Ketchum thing was because Pokemon like saved my life, has given me so much, and I am Ash Ketchum in Jiu-Jitsu, so it all just fit perfectly and then mixed together for my thing for a long time. Now I don't use that anymore because I'm kind of changed over the last couple of years, and with Pokemon Go, kind of got overplayed. So that's kind of been done, but that was my main thing for a while.
Yeah, you were saying like before you mentioned that you were walking out you walked out to the Pokemon theme more than once.
Right.
But once Pokemon Go came out, you're like, no, I don't want people to think like I'm doing this because it's a gimmick with that. Like this has been my shit since before that.
So that was the main reason, but there was a sub reason of a lot of the times you say, I want the Pokemon theme, and they're like, I don't know what that is, or they can't find it, or they'll play the wrong one. So it's getting to the point with that too. Like
what do you mean play the wrong one? There's more than one Pokemon
Every
theme?
series gets its own thing. So like the Indigo League had the original theme, then it was Johto, then it was Hoenn, then it was Sinnoh. So each time they go to a new place, it's a new theme, and sometimes there's even more themes within.
So you liked the original.
I like the original, but there are other ones that I like too.
Yeah.
I was originally thinking like throughout the years go from each one.
Each region.
But then it got too hard where like they couldn't even get the original theme.
That's crazy.
But then on top of Pokemon Go and everything, it was too much. I still love Pokemon more than anything, and it saved my life so much, helped me so much.
In what way? Please elaborate.
Without Pokemon, who knows what would have happened to me? Like when everyone else was getting into drugs, sex, and drinking, I was falling back in love with Pokemon. When they were going out partying, I wanted to go watch, learn, and play the games. And it was that divide that ended me going up on one side of the trail and everyone else going the other and going down a bad path where I, not knowingly, avoided all this drama and issues where, because of my OCD, who knows what would have happened with drinking and drugs and stuff like that.
That's interesting to think about. And you're like straight edge, like you've never smoked or drank.
Never smoked, never drank.
Damn. But you like it's funny.
Maybe I've had sex.
Yeah, you're a fucking goof.
But there are straight edge people where that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's no drinking, no smoking, no partying, no sex. Like the hardcore straight edge people, and I was that for a long time.
Why? What? That's
But
interesting. That's pretty cool though. I feel like the discipline that you need to entertain such a lifestyle is like imperative to, like, maybe not imperative, but it's definitely like draws some parallels with martial arts. Like you need to be disciplined when you're training too.
Right.
So do you have like is there reasons in there that stem with the training, or it's just kind of like, no, this is just how I do?
None of it has anything to do with the training.
That's crazy.
Because I eat like shit and I do a bunch of other things that would risk my health. Another reason was when I was in like beginning high school, in 8th grade, everyone loved me and it was like cool to be yourself and weird. And then as soon as 9th grade hit, it changed and everyone like couldn't say weird things or be funny or be themselves unless they were drunk, which pissed me off. So I would go to school and do something, and people would be like, "You're so weird," and I would be like, "What the hell?" And then I would hear stories the next day about how so and so did this at a party, and it was so cool and funny and he's so hot, and I'd be like, "I just did that, and no one else thinks." And I'll be like, so I got so angry because it was like drinking was what I did the things people did drinking,
Yeah,
but
like,
sober.
I don't need drugs to do this.
But
shit.
they thought I was weird because I was doing it sober. So that pissed me off.
You're too courageous.
And that was the main reason, other than Pokemon for a while. Then I met my original first girlfriend, and she was against drinking, and then that made it even worse because then I was feeding off of someone else who hated it as much as I did. And then she started drinking at the end of our relationship. So then, like, for me, I can't go back and take everything that I said and work towards. I don't hate it now, but I didn't want... I'm never going to drink, no matter what. It's not going to happen. I got lucky and found my girlfriend currently and fiance who doesn't drink, which is super rare at our age, and it just worked out perfect. But if she did want to drink, I wouldn't be against it like I was before when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because I was just pissed off back then.
Yeah, you were like more resentful about the whole thing.
But none of it had to do
sense.
with, oh, it's good for your health. I don't give a fuck about the health stuff.
It's just your ethos.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense. So let's talk about Pokemon a little bit.
All right.
So, like, which generation's your favorite?
So my favorite is Gen 2, which is Johto, Gold, Silver, Crystal. I played Gen 1 when it came out, like, as it was popular and stuff, but I just didn't like it as much as Gen 2. I played Gen 2 so much. It's like I sleep at night, and I look back, and there's times where when I was younger, I used to think an erection was a good idea. Like, I would get a boner, and I would be like, "Oh, that's a great idea." And a lot of times, I would get a boner when I was playing Pokemon.
That's amazing.
Because I would get so excited. So I would just think, and I would be dreaming at night still, and I'd sometimes, get a little hard, and I'd be thinking to myself, those Pokemon memories.
That's amazing.
Like, that's what I get so happy about, which is weird, but
nah, dude. I'm sure there's way weirder shit out there. I think honestly.
Those were some of the happiest times, though.
Yeah, man, and I have mad respect for you because like you don't need booze to be as courageous to say this shit.
Right,
like,
right.
The only way I would get some of the things you said out of people
exactly.
is if I get them bombed. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
well,
so
it was
funny,
embarrassing
man.
because I used to walk around hard at school, and they'd be like, and I'd be like, "What? I have good ideas when I get home. I'm gonna do this on my game," and I'd be so excited. It's probably why I never had a girlfriend for a while, until I was 16.
Oh shit. So who's what's your who's your 6 that you keep in the pocket? Like if you're gonna do a Pokemon battle with someone else.
So it would change all the time growing up, and now I have 6 Pokemon tattooed on me.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that's my party. If I play the game, I try to use at least 3 of them. I have Porygon, which is my #1 favorite of all time.
Why?
Because he was only available at the slot machines, and I can never get it. So then eventually I became obsessed with not knowing. If I don't know or understand something, I become obsessed. And like I couldn't picture what he was like. In the anime, he had an episode in Japan, but it caused seizures, so it got banned in America, so he didn't have an episode. Damn. So I never was exposed to him. So I became infatuated with what he was like. So he was my #1. #2 was Hitmontop. And I liked him because before I would do backflips in my jiu-jitsu matches, and parkour stuff.
Oh, really? In the matches?
Yeah.
That's fucking.
I have a backflip to an Imanari roll.
Dude, I need to see that. Do you have it? Can you pull it up right now?
Yeah.
I want to see it.
I'll show you in a second.
Yeah.
So then that was #2 in my parkour. I wanted a parkour tattoo. But there's not a lot of things you can get.
But Hitmontop's like an early evolution.
Second gen. There's Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan for first gen, and then Hitmontop.
They evolve in the Hitmontop?
No, Tyrogue is the baby form and can go into any of them.
Oh.
So I wanted something that was like flip oriented, and Hitmontop was perfect. Then I got Haunter because I always like ghosts and stuff, and I wanted a ghost tattoo, and I was like, Pokemon's perfect. Pick a ghost from there. Then I got Scyther just because he's badass and I liked him. Then I got Jinx, who has always been top 3. Because of how weird it is. And again, everyone hates it, so then I became obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And then #6, I got a Pikachu hanging himself.
What the fuck? Why?
Because it's like, as during that phase in high school, and then again later on in life, I realized like the happiness and like what's the word I'm looking for? If someone's the pureness of like when you're a child disappears when you're older. No matter what, you can be so good and so pure, but then you get freaking corrupted no matter what.
Yeah,
as soon as you become an adult. So it's
yeah.
my happiness and kindness getting taken over by this anger and depression of the world. So it's my interpretation. Like, I want to be nice and love everyone, but that doesn't work. And I've been taken advantage of and had bad periods where, so that's my depression taking over my happy thoughts.
That's crazy.
That's my happy, for that 1 year when I was depressed and quit everything, it was Dillon, the happy Dillon's gone, and it's now this depressed one. Now the depressed one's gone, but I'm still not the original happy, loving person because of things I went through. Right.
Yeah. That's interesting, man.
So it was the death of my pure and original self.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but that's what had to happen, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's such as life.
I originally thought love was the most important thing in life, and it's not. It's respect. You can be loved and not respected, and then people just take advantage of you, and things can just go bad. But if you're respected and not loved, it's going to work out fine. That's why I ended up getting respect here, because that should be the goal for everything. Before, if someone contacted me online, I'd be like, come over, we'll have a sleepover, we'll hang out, we'll train, we'll do all this stuff. But then people took advantage and, like, disrespected me. And I was like, they like me, but they don't respect me. So now I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to be anyone's friend. I just want the respect. You're not sleeping over. I'm going to beat the shit out of you when I can. And then that's that.
That's funny as hell.
And I didn't want to be like that, but they killed the pure and innocent. Innocent's the word I was looking for before.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Wow. There's so much depth to that. I never would have thought that. I feel like my starting 6 would fuck yours up, though.
Probably. Yeah. I have a different taste.
Who's the best legendary bird, in your opinion? Like, who's your favorite one?
I don't even like legendaries, but if I had to pick one, maybe Zapdos.
Good choice.
I don't like the overused Pokemon. Pikachu's great, even though he's overused, but that's like a rare instance that I'll like someone that everyone likes. Like Jinx, Porygon, Hitmontop, those are rarer ones.
Yeah.
Everyone likes Haunter and Scyther, but they're just so cool. It's hard to be like a hipster and not like them.
You don't fuck with Mewtwo?
No starters, no legendaries, anything like that.
Oh, man. Mewtwo's the shit.
Well, there's a couple starters I like, but...
Yeah. What did you think of the Detective Pikachu movie?
I thought it was funny as hell.
You liked it?
Yeah, I loved it.
I thought it was good.
Yeah,
I saw it twice in theater, actually.
Yeah.
I saw it with, like, a group of friends, and then I was like, oh, I got to take my kid to see
think
this
if they did, like, a horror movie Pokemon, that would be sick.
That would be cool,
right?
Yeah.
Like a rated R version of Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, they did... I saw like some dude, I don't know if it was like on like DeviantArt or some shit like that, some website where fan art's a thing, but they drew a lot of Pokemon in like a horror theme, and like they had Haunter and like Charizard and like really dark. I have to find it. I'll send it to you. I think you would dig it actually.
Now Pokemon's not the only thing I like. Like I also Digimon, same thing as Pokemon.
Yeah.
I have 2 Digimon tattoos.
Which one's better in your actual opinion?
Well, Pokemon's my favorite, but I really like Digimon. I have Vmon from Season 2, and then I have the Friendship Crest. If you would have met me, like, 4 or 5 years ago, all my tattoos were, like, cartoon, happy, love tattoos. Now I have knives and
horror.
People getting stabbed all over because of things that I've gone through that made me darken up now.
Yeah. And so we can definitely transition into like the tattoos and stuff. So you were actually on the Ink Master show.
Yeah.
You were Canvas.
Yes.
And they tattooed your butt cheek.
And it turns out that show just got canceled.
No way.
Yeah.
Why do you think that happened?
Partly because of COVID.
Yeah.
But
that checks out.
I was on the last season. I got so lucky.
Yeah.
So lucky.
How did you get on it?
I just put in an application, and I was
it was like an online thing?
Yeah, you just put what you're willing to get, where you want to get it, and then they contact you, they will. When I was there...
Did you have to send a picture of yourself?
I had to do 3 interviews, pictures of myself, because they need to see like the room that you have.
Did they have to... let me see. Did they want you to be a popular person or like be attractive? Like I imagine.
No one there. It was all like different older people actually.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I would imagine like if you have a high Instagram following, we'll use.
That's what I thought. I applied only one time. There were people who applied 6, 7, 8 times. I got on first shot. I was pretty lucky. I think it was like the theme was a little bit like people didn't want the tattoos, but I was gonna take anything.
What was it?
U.S. monuments.
You gotta show the camera your tattoo, bro.
I'll show you.
Oh yeah.
So I got the White House.
Oh, that's sweet. Let me. So I think that looks pretty good. Did you in your experience see any like shit tattoos that came out?
Well, there were a couple that I didn't like. I thought mine was the best, honestly.
Yeah?
I thought I was gonna win. Turns out, I got the second worst tattoo and almost sent home by artist. This is like a 20-hour tattoo that was put into a 6-hour tattoo.
Oh, bro, were you like fuck the whole time?
No, this one was probably one of the least painful.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. The thigh, I would think like
it's
a
so
lot of
easy.
Meat. Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy was super light. Super light. There's some people who like scrape the shit out.
Yeah.
This was easiest tattoo, one of my favorites because of the meaning and everything, the meaning of being on the show. And I really thought I was going to win, but they picked things out and they said it was the second worst. Oh well. I still love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I've seen way worse tattoos.
Right.
That's interesting. So let's talk about like some of just the ones I see here. It looks like it looks like the Blink 182 face.
Yeah, that's
right there.
Blink 182.
You fuck with Blink 182?
Yeah, and then
Hell
smile. Yeah, I have 58 tattoos. I have characters from Naruto, Digimon, Pokemon. I have horror movie stuff. I have portraits. Literally, I have every type of tattoo. I get my favorite things tattooed on me.
What's this one here?
This one?
Yeah.
That's John Lennon.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like.
I wanted a portrait.
I see it now.
I got this. This was right before I quit everything, and I was going through some weird stages.
Yeah.
I was into the Beatles, but also wanted someone who got murdered. So John Lennon was perfect, and I wanted a portrait of someone like that's like people look up to and have like false. They'll follow anyone who has like fame and stuff, and people look up to John Lennon just because he was a singer and everything.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Those are the only two music centric tattoos that you have. I'm wondering because it's kind of
Hollywood Undead.
Oh yeah,
which is my favorite band. I have Son of Man, which is my favorite song, and that is in Tarzan. And then I have the Blink and the John Lennon. But I think that's it for music. I may have a couple others I can't think of, but that's about it.
Nice. Interesting.
We have a visitor.
Yeah.
I have no idea what he's doing.
he'll find his way, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Interrupting my podcast. I think that's pretty interesting actually about my podcast. I've seen some weird stuff like during my podcast where it's just like, because I'm a traveling dude, right? Like,
right.
This isn't a studio. I made this gym into a studio right now.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like I've seen some really strange people like try to get involved and shit. Like, dude, like, can you fucking not?
Yeah, you see some strange people in the gym stuff. I have some crazy people that I've met over the years.
Yeah. So let's go back to jiu-jitsu. Like we had a nice fucking tangent we went on. That was really nice, but let's come back to basics here. What are some matches that you're looking forward to in the future here coming up?
So
you got like more fight to win offers I saw, but
I had offers for fight to win again. I just did one. I want to soak in the wins. Like I like to soak in the wins for a good 3-4 months. I've been competing so much, so I have tons of experience, over 450 matches. I don't need to be out there every weekend.
And then how many wins by straight ankle?
Like 70 wins by straight ankle. I have 275 wins total, I think.
That's crazy.
But
most of them are what, points or straight ankle?
Most of them are straight ankle, then points. That would be my second most winning thing. Back before I did the straight ankle was always points wins. Couple chokes and stuff. Then I started shifting my senior year to the straight ankle because I was going against bigger people, and that was the only thing that really worked.
That makes sense. That's.
But now I'm getting sick of the straight ankle. It's like, how much fun is it to go out and do the same thing every
that
time.
Works. Yeah.
I have so many clips of the straight ankle. So this is one thing I want to talk about. I hit that bulldog choke. I thought, oh man, I'm gonna get tons of views. Andrew the next week hits a straight ankle lock and destroys me in views on his.
What?
So I should have just went out there and straight ankle locked someone, right?
I mean,
he got over 100,000 views for a straight ankle lock. I'm like, what the hell?
Leg locks are hot right now,
I'm like,
man.
you gotta be
it's
kidding
the hot
me.
thing. I feel like you have to be pretty in jiu-jitsu to know the significance of fucking getting a tap from a bulldog
I
choke,
guess,
bro.
yeah, but it looks so cool. Like I've won matches where I tap people with leg locks and I come off the mat and they go, "Oh man, I'm really sorry." And I'm like, "I won." And they're like, "Oh, you did? You were on bottom." They don't think because I was on bottom that I won.
Yeah.
So then it looks like I lost. I'll make highlight reels of matches I won. I'm like, this sucks. I look like I'm getting my ass kicked because I'm rolling under for the legs, but it looks like he's just beating the shit out of me.
Yeah. Do you think, what do you think are the most valuable submissions in, like, real-world scenarios?
So definitely has to be chokes.
Yeah.
It all depends.
Like, I think you brought this question up last time, like the hierarchy of submissions.
Right. There's the ones that are good for competition, good for a fight, and then good for like a fight to the death street fight.
Yeah.
All depends on where it's taking place and if there's weapons too. But overall, I think probably guillotine is probably the best.
Chokes are the move. I mean, you think guillotine beats out RNC?
Just because of the time that I was knocked out, because I threw in a rear naked choke.
Tell the story.
So I was walking at a football game, and someone slide tackled me down a hill, and I thought it was a friend. So I jump on his back, and I throw in this deep rear naked choke, and I start to realize it wasn't a friend. So I loosened up a little, but it wasn't to the point where I still had this choke on. I should have finished it. He should have been passed out. He ends up backpack slamming me. Andrew just did that in his last match, too.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. Except I get knocked out cold because my head
was
hits
it on concrete?
It was on grass. So my head hit the grass, knocked out cold by someone who's never trained, who's probably a wimp, and I lost that street fight. So the rear naked choke scares me for street fights because if it's cement, then I'm really dead.
Yeah.
With the guillotine, at least it's a little less likely that I'll be slammed on my head. Maybe if they go like a high crotch and pick me up and dump me, then that'll be different. But.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like it's hard to say, right? Because, like, as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, like, oh, I know all the counters, so this I can theoretically have an idea on these, this, that, and the other thing. But in a street fight, it's completely different because the element of surprise is huge, right? Like, you don't know if that dude has a knife.
Right. Have you been in a street fight?
I've been in a few, like, growing up. I've been jumped before. Yeah, man. I think my record on the street is garbage.
My record is 0-4.
Yeah, I think I'm about like 0-2 or 3,
Yeah.
dude. It's not good. It's a terrible record.
But
to be fair, like, I think probably like 0-3 because I was jumped twice. Like, if you need more people, like, you know, what I mean? Then there you go.
If it was all fair and set up, maybe.
Yeah, like now, I'm pretty confident that I fucked someone up. Yeah,
knocked out once from that. I count that as a loss. When I was in 7th grade, I tried to fight like this older kid just for his respect. Got slammed through a skateboard and choked and tapped. So that's number 2.
When you tapped, did he stop?
Yeah. Then he would, like, he used to pick on us if we walked through. You had to, like, there was people you would have to pay $1 to get through the park, or else trying to beat you up. They were like in high school when we were elementary, junior high.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
What kind of
so
fucking
I'm like, you know what?
90s movie villain dickhead shit is that, dude?
What's worse, not fighting and getting bullied this whole time, or fighting and losing and then him respecting me and letting me go? So I'm like, you know what? He's like, I want to fight someone. I'm like, I'll do it. Put my hands up. Takes me down 2 seconds. Get choked out. Tap. Picks me up and says he won't bother me anymore. And that was the last time he ever did. So I'm like, all right, 0-2.
Free pass.
Then there was one that happened inside of my gym. This kid came in and he thought the jiu-jitsu was MMA. So I'm like, I'm rolling with him. And he's tough, never trained before, but wild. And I pull guard, and he just winds up and punches me right in the face. And at this point, I'm rocked. He gets full mount. My dad was just talking me up, too, to all these teenagers that came in. He was like 17, I was 15. Full mount, just pounding the shit out of me. I'm out. I'm flopping, heads hitting the ground. My dad breaks it up. Now this kid just beat up the top guy at the gym in front of all of his friends. So I'm like, I really just got fucked up. So my dad leaves. I call him over for round 2. I come back. I take his back, and I just start wailing him with punches. Eventually, I think my dad broke it up again, or he tapped.
That's fucked. Wait, so like, he can't. He just started beating your ass and you weren't like consenting striking. You
we
just
were
thought
just
like we were gonna
doing
grapple.
jiu-jitsu.
What the fuck, yo?
But then I was so
what a douche.
rocked that I couldn't recover. So he finished me there. Then I came back the second round and did better, but he already beat me.
Yeah, I mean, but nah, he won dishonorably. Like, you weren't striking the first time,
Right.
So he got.
It was
the
a cheap
element of
shot, but
yeah.
I should have. I was trained. He wasn't. And then
Nah, man, if you get sucker punched, like you can't. If you have a glass jaw, you're
Right,
fucking.
right.
You know what I mean? It's just the way it goes.
And then the dog was the last street fight that was probably my best performance out of all of them. The last one was in 10th grade.
That's
other than
funny
that
as
one.
shit, yo. The fucking dog beat you by points.
Oh, then I did get into a fight with Brett Martinez. I'll have to show you. While doing MMA training.
That's interesting.
He kept humping me. And he pissed me off. Brett's kind of a dick.
That's funny as shit, yo.
He was humping me, and I'm like, don't do it again. He was embarrassing me in front of everyone. And I was like, you know what? Let's go. And I'll show you the video. I was slapping him so hard in the back of the head because I didn't want to break my hand.
Yeah.
But it ended up turning into, like, a little bit of a fight. He was joking around. I wasn't. I ended up throwing a punch and an up kick.
That's funny as hell.
But he would have beat me there because he used to beat the piss out of me so
Can
bad.
you quickly pull it up? I want to see the backflip Imanari roll.
Backflip.
If you can pull him up quick, like show me, and then we can show the camera.
So the backflip Imanari.
Well, that was in comp.
Yeah,
You're crazy.
I didn't.
That's fucking awesome.
I didn't finish the leg lock.
Okay, no, the attempt, bro. Someone should have gave you a BJ that night. I don't know, bro.
So this was against Frank Rosenthal.
Wow, dude. Fucking
and
foreshadowing as fuck right there.
He was winning. He ends up winning the match anyways. We've had 3 matches. I beat him once. He beat me twice. But he was winning, and I couldn't get a takedown, so I just ended up doing a backflip and reaching, and I ended up getting the leg and taking him down with it into a leg lock. But then he got out. That's
pretty epic. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I kind of I really want to see this. Let's have a gander.
Our rematches were pretty good.
Yeah, I think every time I've seen you or Frank live, it's always really good matches. Oh man, styling on him. Yo, you're a fucking goon. Let me show the camera.
But even though I lost, I felt like I won the match. That was one of the matches where it was like points for takedowns, but no submission attempts. So I didn't get any points for the leg lock or anything.
Oh, but you got a takedown?
I don't even know if I got the points for that.
That's bullshit.
He beat me 2-0 and then 4-2.
That's interesting. Yeah, the leg lock thing, it's just pretty controversial right now. What's your opinion on IBJJF's legalization?
I liked it better before because that was like the one tournament where I could go and not worry about being heel hooked.
Yeah.
If I want to do heel hooks, I'll do everything else. But now it's kind of wasted.
Yeah. That's interesting. How do you feel like your journey from white belt to brown belt? Like, so you were a kid when you started doing BJJ, so you actually hit like things between white and blue. No?
Well, like I said, I trained, but it wasn't like
legitimate.
Like the kids nowadays.
Yeah.
So I started taking jiu-jitsu serious around 2014. I think I got my blue belt though 2012 maybe. And then I got my purple when I started getting really serious into it in around 14 or 15. And then I got my brown last year. But the belts mean nothing to me.
Really?
I don't give a shit about my belt or whatever.
Why not?
Because it's dumb.
Yeah? Are you like in Step Brothers? I don't think that belts should be able to rank toughness.
I think everything's with the jiu-jitsu. I'm not going to respect someone because they're a black belt. I'll respect them because they're nice and a good person. I don't give a fuck about their black belt or their wins.
What about the competition record doesn't mean shit to you?
No,
that's interesting.
I respect you more than 99% of the other jiu-jitsu people.
Oh, I will. I'll drink to that, brother. I'll take that to the bank. What about toting like something like that, like a good competition record or a high belt level, like puts you off?
It's not. If you do it and you're good at other things, it's not as bad. Or if you're really, really good, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's gross and like demanding
Cringy
respect
almost,
just
you
because
think
you
so?
did all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like if only reason I post about jiu-jitsu is to get attention. So when I was doing it full time, because I wanted to make a living doing it.
Yeah.
So I would post nonstop jiu-jitsu and brag because it's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to do it at all because it's embarrassing. I'm cringing at my own post back a couple years ago.
That's funny.
Because I'm like, oh, I did this, did that. I had an amazing match. It's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's so embarrassing.
Do you pull old posts when you see that shit?
Sometimes.
That's funny as hell. That's so interesting.
Why do this is something I think about. Why do jiu-jitsu people take pictures all the time?
What do you mean, like while they're training and shit?
Like after training, like you don't see people at like restaurants cooking in the back, taking a picture and be like, cooking today, good cook or whatever, or good whatever. It's the only thing. Like we're so weird.
I don't know, man. I think
I get it. You like it.
no, but cooking's different than like a sport, right? Like I feel like people that lift even do it, and that like lifting's hardly a sport. But you see people that like I was filming a flag football league. You always see these guys like after they get a win, they all get together and take a picture.
There are way more people who play football, and I see.
I guess it's different because that's a game, right? That's like that's like a professional match. Like that would be like a fight to win. So they take a picture after the win.
Right.
But after a training session,
you
I
don't
know.
see people playing football and be like, "Yo, great practice today." And if they do, it's once every other month. Yeah, not every single day. It's so weird. And I do it too, and I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah. No, you know when I'll do it? I'll do it when, like, I want a picture if I'm training with someone that I haven't seen in a while.
Or a new person.
Yeah. Or if it was, like, a really good day at the gym.
Right.
But, like, you don't see it from me every week.
Still, it's just...
Someone's got to get a belt promotion or some shit.
What if someone came into a gas station and I was like, dude, you're really cool. Please let me take a selfie. It was great meeting this guy at the gas station. Wish it would be cool if they did that, but
I don't think it would at all.
So weird.
That's funny, yo. Oh, man. So what made you decide that a career in jiu-jitsu was not for you anymore?
So I thought jiu-jitsu was, the only way I would get people to love me was jiu-jitsu, because I was going through a lot of other weird, like the non-drinking, the non-smoking, the not dating people that much. Being in a committed relationship takes that away, but not being social, jiu-jitsu was the only way that, like, I knew that I could get people to come down and hang out with me and get to know me. And then once I got that, I don't care if you think I'm weird once you meet me. It's give me a shot. Like, like people, me and my ex broke up, and people were like, how don't you hate her? Or how don't you are so, like, angry about it? You seem not to care. I'm like, I respect her more than 99.9 of the other people because she gave me a shot. At least give me that opportunity and then judge me instead of judging me before you even meet me.
Yeah. No, that checks out, man.
So jiu-jitsu was my way to trick people into doing it.
Trick them. That's
but
funny.
I eventually, once I stopped wanting to be friends with people, that's when I realized that, all right, now that that's gone and I don't care about being friends with everyone or not looking for love, I'm looking for respect, I don't need to do this for a living.
Yeah.
Because I don't care now. And then it was like, do I want to do this for a living? No, because I hate teaching. I hate learning. I just like to train. That's it. I like to roll. I like to compete. But I don't want to be doing it every weekend.
Do you feel like the social media aspect was a big piece of that?
I think somewhat. And I think I went a little too crazy myself. Like, overdid it. Mm-hmm. Like, if you date someone and, like, there's people who get too close too fast. Maybe I got too close during when I was 14, 15, and 16 with jiu-jitsu because it was all I was doing. That was full-time. Not every day training, but every other day at least. And, like, I kind of burned out. And I don't have many goals left that I want to do. I don't care about winning certain matches. I wanted to be famous by using jiu-jitsu, but I don't want to be famous anymore.
Yeah, and you kind of got like some fame.
Right.
Like, you're a household name in the jiu-jitsu community, especially on the East Coast. Like, there's very few people I meet that are high-level competitors that don't know who you are.
Right. So if I want to be famous, I just do my little jiu-jitsu thing. If I want to disappear, anything else.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So now you're a paralegal, right?
Right.
But you didn't go to school for that.
Right.
You just kind of happened into this situation.
Fell into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So where did you study? Like, you have a bachelor's degree.
Right. So I went to ESU for 3 days, dropped out. That was during the quitting. I literally quit everything.
Damn.
Not just jiu-jitsu, not just MMA. I quit school. It was a bad time. But then I went to LiveTrak, got 2-year degree there, and then got 4-year through Bloomsburg, but at LiveTrak.
Interesting. Yeah, you said you never even stepped foot at
Yeah, I never been to Bloomsburg.
That's funny as hell. That's so interesting. And then, like, your dad runs, like, this building that we're in
Right.
has the apartment upstairs, the gym here on the first floor, and then in the back is the lawyer office.
Right. So I got all of them in one spot.
You never need to fucking drive anywhere, bro.
Right.
You're saving all the money on gas.
Yep.
Yo, your car never depreciates. That's epic, man. I think that's like do you think with the corona thing, with the quarantine and everything, do you think people are going to, like, you work from home practically because
Right.
it's here, but a lot of people that work in, soft skill industries are working from home now too.
Right.
How do you think that's going to affect that shit in the future?
I have no idea. I like what I have, and I'm lucky, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere else worrying about what everyone else has to deal with. Like, I am in a good spot right now with the gym and work.
Yeah.
Because even with the gyms, like, if this wasn't in the same building, who knows? We may have to, when the lockdown happened, I wouldn't be able to go and exercise places.
Yeah. No, yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like, I was even working at a gym, and it's a good thing because I was able to train after I worked. It was a parkour gym, ironically. So, like, it was, I did whatever work needed to be done, apply for, like, small business loans and all these things to try to save it. And then I would go try to do backflips. But let's talk about your parkour a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of a good segue. You, like, obviously did a fucking backflip Imanari roll thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most gangster shit I ever seen, yo. I can't believe you fucking did. I gotta one up you now.
Yeah.
What belt were you when you did that? Purple?
I think purple, but I've done backflips in 6 matches.
You are out of
But
control.
none of them worked out well, except for that one. I have one where I do a backflip and then just pull guard, which was dumb.
Yeah, that's pretty lame. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Thanks.
The Imanari roll one was like extra
Yeah,
sweet.
right. I
but
should stop there.
That's funny. Damn, yo. But yeah, please talk about your parkour journey.
So after I joined wrestling and realized that it wasn't WWE, I wanted to learn how to do flips. So I went out and just practiced in the backyard, watching wrestling, watching videos on YouTube. This is when YouTube started. There's like this one Japanese parkour video that's been everywhere, and I studied it and learned. I put more time in parkour than I ever have and probably will into jiu-jitsu.
No way.
Yeah.
How? Like, you're talking about research or practicing?
Research, practicing. I've never researched jiu-jitsu ever.
That's crazy.
And at most, I was training 5, maybe 6 days a week jiu-jitsu, 1 class a day. I was doing flips and parkour every single day for at least 6-7 hours nonstop, and then when I'm going in, researching how to perfect it. So I got into that.
What are some people that you like were really into that are parkour people?
I don't know any parkour.
You don't know any of them?
No.
You said there's like a Japanese
There
one?
was this, like, back when YouTube first started, there's
Yeah.
one video that would always pop up, and then I just watched that over and over again. And then there was a thing called stupidvideos.com. I always wanted to just be a wipeout person. So I didn't even care if I landed the moves. I just wanted to try different things.
Yeah. And you were actually, I want to stay on this topic, but we got to go into like how you were getting paid to be on these highlight reels and shit. But you ever watched like the Russian ones? The Russian ones were kind of what got me into it.
I haven't watched parkour.
Like, and I'm talking early YouTube days here.
Oh.
Like there's like one Russian video I could probably pull up, and it's the same
Then I probably
one.
saw if it was early, because
Yeah.
I stopped watching because I even got burned out from that.
Yeah,
Because the risk
I can
wasn't
imagine.
worth the reward.
Yeah.
But so I started doing that, and then all of it was based off WWE. But then I got out of wrestling, and then I started hanging out with this gymnastics kid, and then we started actually making parkour videos. If you saw it, you're probably laughing at it. It's terrible, but it's the beginning.
Were you doing like lines?
More just flipping off a thing. So I don't even know if you could call it parkour. Yeah, let's show you the video.
Free running,
Free
tricking.
run. Yeah.
Yeah, those are usually
Just back flipping and front flipping off of stuff. But
Yeah.
I just call it parkour or whatever. I jumped off one roof maybe. That was it. Then I started selling the videos later on, and that's what you were mentioning.
Yeah, so let's go into that.
So I was originally like started getting views on certain things, and I would watch and see what videos were viral. And like if there's things that I could do, it's like a lot of the viral things are easier than some of the simpler but harder things. Like everyone thinks a backflip is harder than a front flip, but it's not. A backflip is the easiest thing. A front flip is almost impossible to like land for me. I don't know if you agree.
I think for me personally, the easiest one to me was the side flip.
Side flip?
And then after that was the flyaway, which is a backflip where you come off the bar.
Right.
And I'm talking flips only. Like there's other moves where like there's variants to these things, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm talking about like shit that you can quickly understand what the fuck it is by talking. I'm not talking about like some A twist, butterfly twist kind of stuff, which is all stuff I can't fucking do. But yeah, then I would say front flip after that, and then backflip.
You think backflip's the hardest?
I can't do a backflip, and I'll tell you this is why, right? I'm scared of using my legs' power, and it's a mental thing. I'm 100% sure I can do it.
So you've never done a backflip?
Only flyaways.
That's insane.
In fact, the guy that comments right just now, I think he filmed the last one I put on Instagram, but he has a question really quick I wanna ask. So have you ever tried to pass guard with a backflip, practice and or in comp?
No, but I thought about doing it, but here's the thing with that. I don't want to kick someone in the face or stomp on them or whatever. If someone did a backflip, like trying to pass my guard, I feel like it's kind of rude.
Right?
And disrespectful. If it's an MMA fight, it's different. Like my backflip during that match wasn't going to do anything.
Yeah, because you were far away from Frank. It's
Worst
like you were just
thing that happens is
showboating
I
and shit.
face plant and I hurt myself. I'm not going to
And
hurt
get your
him.
back taken.
But I probably, if it was combat or MMA, maybe. But in straight jiu-jitsu, I would not do that because I don't want to knee or kick somebody.
Yeah. That's awesome that like you have the respect thing
Right.
in mind. The tattoo is
Yes,
coming
exactly.
to fruition here. Yeah, that's interesting. So that's so fucking
I can't
funny.
believe you've never done a backflip.
No, it's scary. It's all mental, dude.
But I kind of get it because I've never done a back handspring. And people...
I think I've done that before.
I've never done those.
And probably a shitty one. But I've landed front flips and not consistently. Like they are very hard to generate the force and be accurate with.
Now, obviously, a front flip is easier to do. Anyone could do a front flip, but landing is what I'm...
No, 100%. So if
referring
you ain't
to.
sticking the landing, it
Because
doesn't
a
count.
backflip, once you get it, you're not going to not land. It's pretty
Yeah.
hard to actually fail on that. But I started selling the videos and making money off of the tricks I was doing. I got on...
So where were you selling them, and for like how much?
There's not a lot, but there's a bunch of companies you can look up, Jukin, Break TV, stuff like that, and then they sell it to TV shows. So I've been on like 5 or 6 TV shows.
Like
just
what?
because...
Besides the tattoo one.
Nickelodeon Crash Leads, this thing called Storyful, like a world's dumbest sports clips in South Africa. It was someone sent it to me on Instagram. I didn't even know about the show. People Are Awesome. I was on Fail Army for a different thing.
That's cool.
So I did all these things, but then after
And it was all just like eating shit, doing a backflip.
some of them were landed, like doing a backflip with 20-pound weights in my hands.
Oh,
But
that's how you fucked your shit up, right?
That was with the
medicine ball.
This was just like dumbbells, which is
Yeah.
actually easier because
I
once you
believe
go
it.
up,
Yeah,
you're
it's
going.
the force is there.
But then I got out of it because the risk wasn't worth the reward.
Mm.
I was getting hurt and like not getting. I was already on TV, so what's more is there to do?
Yeah.
For a parkour person, the most you're gonna get is like 15 minutes of airtime, if that. I got like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. So how much were you making on these?
Not a lot, like probably less than $2,000 maybe. But I was just doing it for the views.
No, that's still pretty good. Like, so you got like $100 for like a video or something?
It depends on the views and what companies buy it.
Interesting.
So I'm in a video with 65 million views, so that was nice.
Yeah, so you got a chunk of change
Right.
from that. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
So what I want to ask you, what is the hardest trick that you've ever done, or
the most impressive thing I've ever done in parkour? I think people think the flyaway is the coolest thing.
I've never done one. So.
Yeah, I think that probably is like the one that qualifies. I'll say like one of the scariest tricks I've ever done. Yeah, the front flip I got over pretty quick because I'm good at diving. Like, you ever do dive rolls?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can dive through like if you gave me a bunch of tries and patted it, I could probably dive through a car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've seen football players do it. Like, I've seen some like highlight reels with that.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty accurate, and it, the parkour gym that I was working at helped me like really get my accuracy pretty good. But yeah, the flyaway is pretty much it. And then laches are hard, but like, you know what a lache is? No. That's when you swing from one bar and catch one, like with just hands.
Yeah,
like you just
yeah.
hip yourself up and swing and then go. That's actually way harder than it looks.
Right.
To figure out the coordination of that is really difficult for someone, like, because the guy who taught me, Andy Taylor, the guy that ran PPK Philly, he would not call it a lache if it wasn't longer than you.
Right.
If the distance, like for me, if I didn't go further than like 6'5", like he's like, that's not a lache. Like, that doesn't count. It's got to be like 8 feet. So like I kept trying, and then eventually I got it. So that's pretty cool. But I think the hardest thing I've ever gotten, actually, come to think of it, you can call it a trick, is like you get on one bar, you pop up to your feet and hands like fucking Spider-Man kind of thing, and you do a thing called soul circle, which is like you basically fall back and you like pump your butt to get momentum, and then you can release and catch a bar higher than you. That's probably the hardest thing I've ever done. That shit took mad tries. I fucked my hands up countless times trying it.
So it sounds like you did the stuff that I didn't do, like all the actual parkour with the environment. Because another reason I got into parkour is because all my friends skateboarded. I couldn't. So I'm like, I don't need
I just did that. Like, it just went. I had a skater on my podcast.
Yeah.
And we did a video. I'm gonna put the edit up later, but I was like just skating up and down the ramp, like, and I busted my ass.
I was like, I don't need a board to do tricks. And that's when I learned. So I'm like, screw this.
That was my thing back in the day too. It was expensive to get a good skateboard and shit too.
Yeah.
And I was pretty poor growing up. Yeah, fuck that, man.
So you've never tried, like, my scariest, and still I won't do it anymore because I recorded every trick that I've done, so I don't have to go back and do it.
Yeah.
There's these like gainers that I would do.
Oh, dude, no.
Not just
way, man.
I'm moving forward gainer, like, you know what a shooting star press is, like in wrestling when they do the on the top rope, a shooting star, like a gainer off the top rope. These were running off of platforms and going off one leg and gainering. That was
J-step
used
kind of
to
shit.
Scare me so much.
That's so scary, bro. Like, I've seen. I think one of the things is I've seen so many people eat shit doing backflips that I don't want to try it and eat shit.
Right.
But I would, like, if I had a good teacher that was gonna dedicate like time to, like, all right, we're gonna get the fucking backflip, I'd be like, all right, I'm into it. So if there's a parkour guy out there that wants to come on my podcast and teach me how to backflip, I'll do it. I'll do it with you. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think the flyaway is pretty cool. I can consistently hit that. And side flips, if I have a height advantage, it's really easy to get those as well, pretty consistently.
Do you do like frontward side flips or the ones where it's like backwards? Like I call mine a cartwheel flip. It's literally just a cartwheel with no arms. But then there's also the side flip that I call. It's like this, and the legs would come this way instead of doing like a cartwheel.
I think it's hard to explain. I might have to. I could try it here, but I don't want to do it. Actually, it's too much equipment. Maybe I'll do it over there later. But yeah, I'll bust my ass a couple times. I actually just landed it for the first time ever on flat ground. Like, usually I was doing it on a spring floor. And like I said, if I have a height advantage, it's easy as hell because I don't need to use as much power, and then I can be more calculated.
Right.
Having airtime like lets you understand the move better too. I think that's like a valuable thing with like trampolines and all that shit.
I used to be really into swings, like doing tricks off the swings.
Ooh.
You ever do swinging?
I've eaten shit off of the
Yeah.
swings, and that's why I haven't really done
I used to be able to do a backflip 720s. I used to be
What?
able to do like a thing called backflips where instead of like everyone does like a gainer backflip with the swing, I would literally just go off backwards.
So like you were swinging back and you would just
Right.
go. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I was into swinging for a long time.
Yeah,
I loved
swinging
it.
is cool. I like bars. You know, I'm not good. Like don't like anyone out there that thinks like, oh man, Brad's like a parkour guy. Like I'm garbage at parkour. Like there are guys that are excellent parkour athletes that I could recommend, and I've had a bunch of them on my podcast actually, and they're like literally. That's their bag. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're the
Yeah,
they're
I'm
the
not-
D-boy of parkour.
I'm not a parkour guy either. Like
Yeah.
if someone saw the videos, they'd be like, "That's pathetic." They'd
yeah,
be
like a
"You're
real
just doing
practitioner.
flips.
Yeah.
You're not even doing anything."
It's like, bro, sesh. Like, do you even do tricks?
Yeah.
Can you even tumble? You bum.
But I just call it parkour.
Yeah. No, I mean it's better than the layman's shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's enough. That's enough to consider it legitimate. What a tangent we went on there though.
Yeah.
That's funny. So let's talk about the M, dog.
Yes, the M. So for all my life, I've had OCD really, really bad. And it's
What is OCD like that you have, right? It's obsessive compulsive disorder, but how
Right.
does it affect your life? Can you like just
so
go into that a
I'll
little
get
bit?
into it. Everyone thinks OCD like, oh, if I move this, is it gonna bother you? It's
Yeah.
like I don't give a fuck if you move it if it's not my stuff or like at school, if I had a pencil in the thing, people would be like, oh, you're gonna freak out? I'm like, no, I don't give a shit if it's lined up with stuff. It's only my stuff, and everything was based off of the main. So the M is something called the main, which I created way back, like I don't even know, elementary school, even before. And whatever that was my main obsession. So whatever I loved or was into, it was what I could only think, talk, collect, do, whatever. And whatever I did in my life, I had to relate back. So the first main that I can think of would be my parents. So, like, I could never leave their side. Everything related back to them back then because I was a little kid, so I was always with them, so it was a little easier. Then it moved to fake wrestling, and this is when it started to get, like, weird. I couldn't watch any shows, any movies, listen to any music if I couldn't relate it back to wrestling. I couldn't talk to anyone. If I was in a room, my room, which was like, I would say my room was like a second brain to me. So it had things where, just in case I forgot, I stored things or was able to show without talking. Like if you came in my room, it was like a image of my brain. I wanted that represents my head. So like my room had to be just wrestling. So if there was a picture of me doing something, I'd be like, oh, I wore a shirt that was blue that Jeff Hardy wore in this match, and he's wearing blue, so it relates back to wrestling. So eventually it became like really, really boring for other people.
Yeah.
For example, at school, in elementary school, I had friends, and they thought it was so funny. Like I would make top 10 lists,
Yeah.
but my top 10 list would change every day because I'd become obsessed with a new wrestler. And, like, those had to be perfect because it was, like, my second brain. I was going to put them up in my room. So I would make the list every day, and they knew I'd change it. So they would mark up the list, and I would have mental breakdowns in school because they would crumble it up or just, like, make a little eraser mark, and it would freak me out so bad. But these lists went on every single day. Eventually, the main switched, and in junior high, it went to, like, reality TV, which broadened me a little bit. So I started actually being social and everything. And then it switched off of reality TV onto Pokemon, a bunch of other things. And eventually I was just getting miserable because I couldn't do anything socially. I couldn't talk about anything. I couldn't think. I was moving things in and out of my room nonstop. It would take days to like move everything in. So one day it would be Pokemon. I would set up my room, would be Pokemon World. And then the next day, let's say it was Digimon. Everything that was Pokemon had to go. And everything that Digimon would have to come in. And that's all I could do. So eventually...
Where would it go? You throw it away?
I would just go put
in
it back in storage. And then I would have to re-find all of it. So eventually I switched the main to photography and videos.
Interesting.
Because that you could take a picture of anything. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to trick myself into this. But eventually it switched off of that onto Instagram. And then I became obsessed with Instagram, which did open up everything to me. So I could obsess with everything, but Instagram itself became an obsession in the main. So eventually, starting in like 2015, I wanted to come up with something called the M, which is my main, which could relate to everything. So the M means my life, everything in my life. So that's right there. Me, meaning mind, body, mental, physical. So a lot of the health stuff started happening because I didn't want to die because I was obsessed with things and didn't want to not accomplish certain things. So I'm like, all my health stuff will fall under me because mind, body, mental, physical. And then materials, I wanted to get rid of all things that aren't attached to my body, except for one thing, which is my ebook, to keep pictures and videos of all the other stuff, to have access to every single thing in that one spot. And then I needed a way to live my life, which was moment-to-moment long-term goals. So I established those things, and they all started with M. So it was perfect. The main is now the M, which is my life, everything, me, mind, body, mental, physical, materials, one material thing, which for an M, it sideways is an E, which means my ebook, and then moment-to-moment long-term goals, which then I got tattooed on me to establish this, like, mantra and a way to live. So now the main is M, but the M is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the M stands for all those things. And then it's like I can't explain.
It's all integrated now.
Right.
Like
now it's all...
you kind of like what you were talking about earlier, like the happy part of you died, then there was the depressing part, and now it's integrated.
Right.
And now the main is the all-encompassing experience that was your past.
Exactly.
And the future, perhaps.
And the present.
Yeah.
It worked out perfectly because I would have had to shrink it down to one thing, and it probably would have been my life. But my life, me, materials, moment-to-moment long-term goals all started with M. So then I didn't need to get rid of them. I could just make M the main. And the way I do it is like the top, it goes like this. My life, me, materials, moment-to-moment long-term goals. So I could do something with my hand for the count too, because there's counts. And then you turn sideways and it's E for ebook, and then it's tattooed on me for the tattoos.
That's fucking epic.
It's
dude.
a long thing. But the M means more to me than anything in my life right now. I love it so much, other than my girlfriend and my parents.
That checks out. That checks out. Let me ask the ebook thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
So the ebook is a hard drive that has every single picture, thought, video, document ever onto it. So here's the thing. The tattoos and the ebook go hand in hand. They're replacements for materials. I wanted one and only one thing as a material thing, and I was going to make it tattoos, even though that's not material, but it's not on me to start. Once it's on me, then it is part of me. But the thing is, I can't get every single thing tattooed on me. So the ebook is a way to store every material thing out there that isn't the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
So the ebook, if me and you take a picture together, it goes on the ebook. But I'm not going to get a picture of you tattooed on me. But if I fall in love...
Why not?
maybe,
I'm Brad the Bard.
Maybe if we
I'm
can become best
awesome.
friends. If I become obsessed with a new TV show, and eventually it's like part of me...
Yeah.
It will go on the ebook with everything that's related to it. Any thought, anything that I buy, I'll take a picture of it, or any experience with it. But I'll also get it tattooed on me because then it's with me 24/7. So anything that needs to be on me that's a material thing, so Pokemon, Digimon, Jason, whatever, is tattooed on me if it needs to be with me at all times. Where if it's not that important and it's just I need to make sure it's okay, but it doesn't have to be with me, it goes on the ebook.
Man, that's epic as fuck, dude.
There's 100,000 files on the ebook.
Okay.
And they go from jiu-jitsu to parkour to report
Pokemon,
cards
yeah.
to notes that I just wrote in elementary school to anything. And it's
That's
all there.
pretty cool that you have it backlogged all the way back then.
Right.
That's super cool. How relieved were you once you like realized the asset that digital media would give you in this?
But see,
because you didn't have to have the shoebox anymore or whatever.
Right. It caused a problem though, because I could have, if there was no photos or videos, I wouldn't have to worry about any material thing. I could just eliminate that whole thing from the M and just be free, and it would just be my life and me. moment to moment.
Yeah.
But because there is all this stuff, so when I do get a new video or picture, I freak out because it needs to be backed up.
Yes.
And then it needs to be backed up again, and then it's backed up again.
Redundancy
So
is
it's causing
important.
more issues in other realms, but I deal with those better than if I didn't.
And you do off-site backups too.
Right. There's tons of backups.
Epic, man. I was we were talking about this last time, but I need to introduce you into the NAS technology.
Yeah.
Because I could probably simplify the task that you have at hand with that.
And I was telling you last time too, if I lost everything, I would be okay. It's if I lose one thing,
you have to replace it and
bothers
then
me.
recompile
So if
everything.
all my photos and videos were destroyed, I would probably be even free. It's like when you have something to lose, it's great because you have things you love and care about, but then it's like it kind of constrains you. Like if I didn't have things to worry about, I would be free and be able to live like completely happy, but then you don't have those happy things. You know what I'm saying?
100%, dude. 100%.
It's like it's a weird give and take. What's worth it? But that's with the M. I started in 2014. I'm still working on finalizing. So like I got it to like a really good point, but then I was like, I don't have the M tattooed on me. So what if I go out? How am I going to remember it's M? So then I had to get the tattoo. Got it twice for backup reasons.
You got a tramp stamp of the M?
No, I have it on my ribs.
Oh, I was going to say.
No.
You pointed back here. I'm like,
No.
what?
But I'm hoping to finish this off and be free from all this like terrible worries. It could all backfire too. So if it doesn't work out, then I got this tattoo for no reason. But it makes me happy right now, and I think it will work out because it's almost perfect.
Do you well, you were mentioning before that you're adopting a new minimalistic kind of lifestyle, right? And I think that's another asset or like benefit of digital media, right? You don't need these physical objects anymore to cramp what you have around you. You can store everything digitally, and it's just ones and zeros. And as long as you have it backed up, there's a negligible amount of worry on that. It's the what about like cloud backups? Like you don't like the idea?
I don't like it because the thing is, when I back something up, I unplug the flash drive, plug it back in, make sure it's there, and I do this like 30 times because with OCD there's counts. So like this tattoo is a representation of my head when I'm counting. Like even if it makes no sense or if it makes total sense, I'll still error out, and I'll have to recount, be 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and figure out, and that's the count.
Can you explain that? It's always in threes. Like what are you counting 3 of?
So it's like a comfort thing. It's so hard.
Like
so,
explain. Like
so,
I want to know. Like I don't have OCD, so I'm really curious of how this works.
When I check my books in my locker, I check 1 2 3, meaning I'm looking at it, and then my eyes usually get wide, and it's a 1 2 3. It's there. 1 2 3. It's there, and then it's usually 1 2. It's there. 1 2. It's there. 1. It's there. 1. It's there, and then it's 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then I walk away. Sometimes, depending on how important the thing is, it could go from 30 seconds to my longest has been like 25 minutes. Just sitting there, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. The numbers don't mean anything themselves. It's just like,
it's just a tick.
It's to tell myself that I'm looking, I'm checking.
Yeah.
I'm checking the books. I'm looking at them. How do I know I'm doing that? I'm counting 1 2 3. I'm looking at it for 3 seconds. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. I looked at it. So I do this thing like right now. I bought a safe for my ebooks, and now I just bought a safe for my safe.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah. So when I put the things in the safe, I had to count, make sure they're all there. I'll put the safe down. I'll lock the safe. I make sure the safe's locked. I'll do 1 2 3. That's 3 checks. 1 2 1, and then I go back up to double check that it's done. And then I put it in the other safe, close that safe, check that 3 times. So it's like.
So let me ask you, like, you don't trust the first safe?
So I trusted the first safe until my girlfriend and I talked about bringing her dog here. So now I don't want hair on the safe. So now I want to put the safe inside a safe. So then it's safe.
All right, that makes sense. Are you? Why does it need to be in a safe?
Because I'm scared that I'm going to open the original safe and hair's going to get into the thing.
Okay, fair enough. But okay, so you're just it's not like you don't think like some assassin's gonna break in and try to steal it as much as you're worried about like dog hair contaminating it. Okay, that makes sense.
Or particles from the air. If
Yeah.
you walk by after training, there's sweat going off. If it
Bro,
hits
you need
safe,
a fucking NAS, bro.
safe, then I'm good.
You need. I feel like if you had 2 locations with internet, I'm gonna go into this briefly here, but I'm gonna really go into it offline so we can maybe make your life a little easier. Just because like I see a solution here that is gonna benefit you, and this is something I'm actually working on right now. And basically, what my NAS is, I have it's 12 terabytes backed up between 3 drives. So if one drive fails, like the same data is like there's 3 drives. This file gets written twice here. The next file gets written twice here. The next one here. So that no matter if any of these drives fail, the files are all there on the other 2. You put another new drive in, these guys rebuild this one.
Right.
And if you have 2 different NASs at 2 different locations, you don't need all this fucking flash drives.
The reason I had to do it this way too is because I didn't have everything backed up.
Yeah.
So building the original archive would have been a bitch if I had to put it all on online. If something like the computer died, it would have been a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I found stuff, I would have like flash drives for certain things. Like this was at the house, this was at the gym. It was just easier that way in the beginning, but maybe now. So here's something. Part of the reason that I turned down the fight to win matches is because I'm just caught up on my backup now. So if I did a match,
you'd have to go back and back everything up again.
That's 3 weeks of me being behind on this M thing trying to finish it because I can't finish it until everything's caught up. So how bad is that I'm not going to get one? I don't want to compete because I don't want footage of myself out there.
Like right now, D-Boy feels complete.
Right.
So what about this interview?
So
do you want? Are you gonna bother me? Like, yo, I need an MP4.
So
of that?
it did give me anxiety. The only thing with this is it is redoable.
Yeah.
Me and you can sit down.
It's a good thing
and
we
talk
were able to do that.
Yeah, so because it did happen.
We did have
Worst
issues
case
with this the
scenario
first time.
happened.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that bad, but the buildup would have been worse.
Yeah.
If you would have told me, oh, hey, I think I lost it. Let me try something at home. I would have been here shaking,
oh, I need to fucking know.
It's like I either want it to just happen
or not.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's so funny. That's a big troubleshooting thing, right? It's always best for an object to either be broken beyond use or work perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
The intermittent shit, that's where you run into these fucking issues where it's racking your brain. Like, why the fuck does this work sometimes and not others?
And that's just in life in general. I just either give me the bad or give me the good. Don't in between me. I'm a little bit of an extremist. Like, I want it one way or the other.
Do you hate when people text you like, we need to talk?
That doesn't bother me.
Really?
What do you mean?
Like maybe your girlfriend, like maybe you guys like had like some crazy event happen, whatever it might be, and then she just texts you, we need to talk, and like maybe you haven't seen each other in a couple of days. Like, you don't get nervous about that?
No, not really.
Oh, that's
that used to
ever. Yeah, I feel you on that, but like that used to fuck me up whenever girls would do that. Like, we need to talk, and then I'm like, what the fuck? What happened? Like, did you cheat on me or something? It's like, and it's like, no, my mom's dog's sick. Or something, like it's never something serious.
An example would be in school, if we're doing a group project, I either want you to tell me exactly what you want and I'll just do what you want, or give me 100% freedom. I don't want to do 50-50. It's just easier if you tell me to do something or let me decide.
I'm with that, dude. I like I'll always choose the lazier route with like a group project in school.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever I'm doing like a collaborative project now where it's like there's money to be made, like maybe I'm doing like a live stream, for example. If I'm bringing people in, I'm like, hey, like we all need to be on the same page. Like we all need to. There's an app called Trello. Have you ever heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a note-taking app, but you can put like checklists and like tag people in it. It's like a productivity app. But I'm like, everyone's got to have this. Like, I want everyone's gear list of what you're going to bring so that we know, like, what we need to bring because the other person's going to have this, that, or the other thing. And then I usually bring spares anyway.
Right.
But I'm like, dude, if it's going to be good, like, do you. Like, I'm going to let you work autonomously.
Mm-hmm.
But we better have the logistics tight before we show up looking like assholes.
Right. So with the OCD, there is some bad stuff, but there was some good stuff. In high school and even college, I would figure out the exact points that I needed to get a certain grade in the class, and I would figure out the teacher's teaching and grading style, and I would, in like 2 weeks, have it down to where I knew I was going to get exactly what I needed and wouldn't have to do any other work.
That's so funny.
Because I was able to figure out and calculate exactly what I needed to do. Then there's little tricks like
so you just social engineered your way through
right.
school.
In high school, there's teachers who
That's fucking awesome.
80% of their grade was homework. If I do my homework every single day, I'm good. But then there's teachers like you figure out that they don't even look at the homework. So what I would do is do the same. I would have the first number. I would do the actual problem for the homework. Every other one, it would just be the same that I did the day before. So for the entire semester, I used the same sheet of homework other than the first problem. And the teachers would look and check for the first one and see that it's different and then give me credit. So I had to do no work entire high school, like just based on that.
I remember I got in trouble in like middle school or elementary school. We had like problems. It was like multiplication problems, but they were like 3-digit numbers times another 3-digit number. So it was just like fucking. This is just, and it was like 100 problems or like 50 or like 40 or like 20 or something. Whatever it was. It was too fucking many.
Right.
So I was like, dude, I'm just gonna get the calculator, get the right answer right at the bottom, and then for the like they would want you to like you bring the math down and like show your work.
Yeah.
For that, I would just plug in random numbers, and then they fucking
give
called
you
me
points.
on it. No,
Oh,
they
they
called
did.
me on it. I was like, fuck. They were like, how the fuck did you get the right answer? And I'm like, fucking.
That's
shit.
funny.
Yeah, I cheated. The best cheats that I had were I'd write on my desk, and then I would like get saliva and wipe the graphite off, like the pencil.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It was those were my best hacks, because like you could take like a mechanical, like they call them lead pencils, but you could get them like clicked out, and you could scrape the end so that it's like really fucking sharp, and you could write really fine and really small and really defined. So I would do that shit all the time. Like in chemistry, I'd be like, oh, this is the formulas, photosynthesis.
I cheated once and got caught right away. I just
Oh,
opened
man.
the book and the teacher's like, "You're done."
Oh man.
I was like, ugh.
Damn.
Oh,
Don't tell my dad.
Fuck.
That's funny as hell. But yeah, man, I think we're probably like, let's check the time, because you have class here, right? Let me just make sure we're, I think, when did I get here? Like 1-ish?
I think so.
Like 12:45. We're probably like 2 hours in right now. Is there anything else you want to go into?
Gotta give the shout out to the
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Of course.
Love her more than anything. She's the best girlfriend ever. I don't know where I would be without her, and she's helped me so much. Smartest, best person I've ever met in my life, Kayla Rivera. And shout out to my parents for everything.
Yeah, man. So let me talk about like your kind of dynamic with your family, right? Like, so your dad's been pretty much in martial arts, as long as he has. I'm not sure 100%, but that vicariously pushed to you, where it's kind of been a part of your life, your entire life. Was there a moment in your life where you decided, like, oh, like I'm destined for combat?
No, because I don't remember before really. So it's just always been there. I never thought, oh, this is what I'm meant to do. I really thought everyone worked out to some point.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't
Martial
combat
arts,
or whatever. I thought people always did that.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like eating or drinking. I just thought it was
just part of
part
life.
of it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because you were mentioning this before as well, where you were saying because you were because of like Facebook, for example, you have so many people talking about jiu-jitsu that you just thought that was the world. I thought it was
everything.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's so funny how it's not fucking funny. It's so fucked up how the social networks can have that effect on people. Are you like, do you think that that's, how did you break that in your mind? Like you were like one time like super obsessed with that,
right?
But you realize like that's not the world,
right? I was what I hate now.
Yeah,
I was doing that.
Yeah,
but I was doing it because I thought everyone was doing it.
Yeah,
but then I realized like to people outside of jiu-jitsu, like I bring this stuff up and it's like they don't care or even know anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, but in our world, like, there's people that are super famous based off jiu-jitsu, and everyone listens to them because they like jiu-jitsu.
Like everyone's got to know who Gordon Ryan is, right?
But no one does if you don't do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Or MMA. Like, it branches off, and that's where it got confusing, because then I'm like, oh, MMA guys know this stuff too, so then it is true.
Yeah.
But it's all part of the same thing.
Yeah. We're still like 1% of the population.
Right.
Maybe.
It's just, I wish I didn't have to go through it, but then I'm glad I did, because then I realized, oh, it's not everything.
Yeah. Is there anyone in your life where you want to show them, like, hey, like, you're being corrupted by this shit?
And not anymore, because I don't care. But back, like, if you would have asked Dillon a couple years ago, I would be like, I want to help everyone.
Yeah,
save
dude,
everyone.
that's kind of where I'm at with it right now, because I identify that there's like that movie, The Social Dilemma, that was on Netflix, like, hit it on the head so well. And it's something that, because I worked in IT, I could see, like, these things are evil. Like, you know what I mean? Like, by their very nature, like, a great friend of mine just told me this yesterday. Money is a good servant and a bad master.
Mm-hmm.
And if you let it kind of consume your life like that, you're doomed, man. Like anything that you create is doomed to be corrupted.
So I'm starting to think about jiu-jitsu the same way that I thought about drinking in high school.
Interesting.
Because I post things or do things and no one, like, really cares, but then I see these jiu-jitsu people post, and because they're big names in jiu-jitsu, people are like, oh, and I'm like, I say the same thing, but he's getting more attention with the jiu-jitsu, or he acts like he's the better or whatever, and it pisses me off. So I'm like going back to that old thing. The difference is, outside of jiu-jitsu, no one cares about jiu-jitsu, where the drinking was way bigger and popular.
Yeah.
But that's why I can suffer through it, unlike the drinking, because if I get outside the jiu-jitsu world, everyone will then agree and be like, oh, that guy has no say.
Yeah.
His opinion doesn't matter at all. Why would you listen about jiu-jitsu or to a jiu-jitsu guy about dogs just because he's jiu-jitsu? But in the jiu-jitsu community, they're listening to these people about dogs or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they're black belts in jiu-jitsu, and that's what drives me crazy and makes me want to throw up.
Oh, yeah, because it's like, your credential on this and not that. Why are you even talking about it, kind of thing? But it's so funny how, like, you can kind of fake your opinion being legitimized on things like that. That makes a lot of sense.
But unlike the drinking, it's saved because I just go out in the outside world and they agree with me. And that's why I don't think I'll ever end up hating this or, like, stop doing it, because it'll balance out.
Yeah, as long as you have that objective view.
Right, I can go out and people be like, I don't give a fuck about jiu-jitsu either. I'll be like, thank you.
Yeah.
Which is like the opposite of most people. The other thing is that pisses me off about jiu-jitsu, and I believed it too, like, back when I was really into it full-time, I really did think, oh, I could beat the shit out of anyone. But now I'm maturing and, like, starting to realize that jiu-jitsu doesn't make a difference. Well, it makes a little bit of a difference.
I do. When you say that, that makes me like, because I'm confident. Like, I feel like, do you have any friends that are just like they have the temperament of a bully maybe, and they don't train jiu-jitsu, but you can put them in some dumb shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, like, I'm rest assured a lot of the times, because I'm like, wait a minute, like, this would maybe work against, like, some drunk douchebag at the bar. Like, I'm always, like, rest assured, like, I'm rehearsing this technique weekly. Like, this needs to be, like, if this isn't legit, I need to not be doing this.
If we would go back to 2015 and you asked me, I would be like, I'm confident outside of jiu-jitsu and MMA, I could beat up anyone. But now I'm almost to the point where I'm like, I really don't know how much of it actually will work.
Because of the dog incident.
Yes, mainly because of that incident.
That's so fucked. I guess I need to fight a dog.
Because it had no training or anything. Mm-hmm. And it really got into my head.
Because it had no training.
And then there's people who
Bro, how do you know that fucking dog doesn't just hang out at Gary, like, fucking, or at a Henzo gym or some shit?
I don't know that, but there's people who do come in sometimes, and I'll roll with them, and I'll be like, holy shit, they're hard to, like, I can tap them, but there's something about them, like, if this was on the street, it may be, like, me getting fucked up. But the weird thing with them is they usually get worse when they train. they lose that aggressiveness and that like wild thing.
Yeah, man. I see 100% where you're coming from. Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I had people come in. I'm like, your potential is amazing. Then they start to tame and learn technique, and it just goes away. What they were good at is gone now because
I feel like there's definitely some legitimacy to that. But don't you think that as you get more technique and you smooth out your style and everything, that maybe you don't need the strength as much because you're just an expert at the leverage?
Right.
Maybe?
But they shouldn't get rid of it all. Like something weird happens with these people. They're so tough. They're like, you'll put them in a submission and they won't tap to the last thing. Maybe they just get smarter and then they just start maturing and like tapping earlier and like less. Like if I roll with someone and they start cross facing or like stuff like that, that's what bothers me. I like when they do it, but it's like hard to roll against someone like that.
It's like you like to roll against that because it's like, oh, this is challenging. Like,
right.
This is
Or
trying
if they grab
me.
my face and just neck crank or face crush, like that sucks. And then they stop doing it because they're taught like that's dirty or whatever. Maybe that's it. But I'm like, no, keep doing that stuff. That's what made you good. But it's so weird.
That's interesting. So, man, I feel like that's an uncommon perspective, though.
Yeah.
Do you?
Right.
Do you feel like a lot of people would disagree with you on that?
And I think maybe. I think some people also, they don't want to be like that. They rather be technique and lose than aggressive, sloppy, and win. But everyone says that you should go technique. I don't agree with it. I don't think. I think if you have someone that's way stronger, that's going to cancel out everything.
Interesting.
Size, strength, roughness, all that matters.
Like, do you think, so you're saying like, but some experience is necessary to understand the threat of the
Right.
chokes and shit, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Like there are people that are black belts and they're just straight technique that it's no trouble for me because there's no rough. It's literally like we're doing.
Do you think if they turned up the heat though, like it would
maybe?
Yeah.
And then there's white belts who I roll with no technique that freaking are like Jesus
pains
Christ.
in the ass. I've had them, man. Like for sure, I feel like this is a thing that for me, right, with a new white belt that's spazzy like that. I mean, this is personally me. Like I'm not saying like this is a common thing for people, but a lot of times go easy on them, even though they're being complete like dickheads. And I just want to feel them out and kind of see if I can handle the oppression of the bullshit that they're throwing out.
Right.
Because they're not gonna tap me with some bullshit unless it's like a fucked up neck crank where it's like, all right, man.
Yeah, I
You
don't
really
worry
wanted that.
about getting tapped, but at this point, like if someone comes in,
Well, even injured, you know, because you
Right.
can get injured so easily from those guys. But at the same time, they'll injure themselves. Like especially in gi, those are the kind of guys that get their fingers caught and shit and just fucking rip.
right.
And fucking now their pinkies like hanging out.
I also think in any day anyone could beat anyone. So even if you have the best training, you could be sick, and then something happen, and then you lose to someone you shouldn't.
Yeah.
I just hate, like, I wish everyone was more equal in jiu-jitsu instead of, oh, these are the best and these are, but I understand it's a sport and everything. Just I'm not going to respect you just because you're beating and winning things.
Yeah. Well, do you think?
There's people who beat me that I'm like definitely don't respect them because they just won a game.
Yeah.
But there's people who I've beaten. I'm like, fuck, they fucked me up. I
Mhm.
won the match, but I lost that fight.
Yeah. That's such an interesting perspective. So, what do you think about like steroids in martial arts? Do you think it's cool?
I don't care if you do steroids or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference to me.
Really?
I don't
would
give
you take a fight with a guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like them to have steroids or do steroids because it would be more of a win-win for me.
I see what you're saying. Man, you have such an interesting perspective on this.
Right. Like,
It's unique. Like there's very few people that have like anything comparable to what you're describing.
I will tell, like, I want people to know what my weaknesses are because then they already know what, like, I'm going in. Oh, Dillon told the guy what he's bad at. So if he gets caught in it, it's kind of like an excuse.
It makes sense.
I set myself up not
Yeah.
to look bad. So I'm
Yeah.
saying, like I said, heel hook me or choke me out. You'll beat me almost every time if you go for those two things. Now, if I lose, I gave it up. I told you.
Yeah, I gave you.
But if I'm keeping my stuff hidden, I'm like, I'm not telling you, and I'm still getting heel hooked and choked.
yeah,
Fuck it.
Yeah, then you're just bad.
I want you coming in steroids, fucking whatever you
yeah,
want.
get all the sauce on me.
That's why I liked fighting up weight classes, because I'm like, oh, I lost a 200-pound guy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's so funny. So do you think, like, the bulldog choke is a pretty good example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you, going into that match, were you expecting the technique of the bulldog choke to get you the sub because
No.
you have mastered the technique?
Not at all.
Or did you just think, like, I'm just going to be as mean as I can with this and get a submission?
I'm confident that I could just make it hurt enough or squeeze hard enough to where it's gonna pop. Or
That's
they're
fucking
gonna tap.
wild, bro.
With the ankle lock on my one side, I only can do it one side. If I grab it and get it under my armpit, no matter where or whatever, I don't think about any technique. It's just a pull. I think I can get it. No technique whatsoever. Literally. So there's this one thing that I do. Like, they'll roll out of the ankle lock, and I'll have a backwards ankle lock. And it should never work. But I'll be able to pull so hard that they tap from it. I don't know why. So at this point, I don't know what I'm doing.
You don't watch the video and like, oh, like I wonder how this technique was. Like,
it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't work. But like, I can pull so hard that it does hurt.
You just have this fucking retard strength.
I know.
Or maybe I shouldn't say that. You have old man strength.
I think, yeah.
Like you got them dad strengths.
Pulling the joke back.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, don't cancel culture. Ignore that one. Yeah, give me a mulligan. Oh shit, but that's awesome, man. I feel like that's such a unique perspective to have on that.
And it's a little more because I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
if you actually love...
You don't study your match footage that much?
I watch my match footage to watch myself.
Like, you don't watch your losses? Like, do you watch...
Oh, I watch my losses. I post everything.
Okay.
Not because I want to study the jiu-jitsu, but because I want to watch myself. I'm fascinated. I love seeing me. I think I'm so cute.
You're the man.
I like to, like, watch...
So cute.
But I'll win, loss. I post every loss. If I lose in 10 seconds, I was posting old losses a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Just old things that I got killed in. Just posting them up, whatever.
That's interesting. I don't know. I feel like lately in my life, like you can't find any jiu-jitsu footage of me that's from me. I don't really post it. I'll post like the pictures, like you say, like every couple months you'll see me. Oh, I'm training with these fucking guys today. But when I first started training jiu-jitsu, I think I did it more for self-defense purposes. But one of the reasons I never shared anything is because I didn't want people to know, like I wanted to be underestimated because
right.
And I think in most competitive things I do, when I'm underestimated, I perform the best.
Right.
Like Smash Brothers, for example. Like that's something that I used to go to competitions all the time, and I would choose like King K. Rool as my main, and then I would fucking wax your ass. But because you don't like you thinking like, oh, he's about to just spam smash attacks and shit. No, dude, I'm crown sliding. I'm fucking you up right now. I'm hitting you with all these hidden techniques and shit. But now, like as a podcaster, like I've had so many jiu-jitsu guys on, I feel like people now might overestimate, like, dude, he knows like D-boy shit.
That's
He
the
knows
problem,
fucking Rob Deagle, bro. He's gonna be a fucking crazy leg dude.
And that's what happened with me. Just because I fought people, they started assuming, like,
yeah.
I'm like, I just fought them. Doesn't mean I did good or anything or whatever. And that's what kind of took the fun out of it, too, is like, I do like losing sometimes because if you're winning every time, it sucks. What's the fun of it? I used to fantasize about different ways that I would tap. Like, I'm like, if I lose this match, I want to be
it should be glorious.
A quick tapper. And then there's a hard tapper, or sometimes I would do the one tap. Like, I would think about different ways. And, like, I would be
checkmate.
I want
tip the king over
the
kind of thing.
experience of, like, sitting up after getting choked and be like, oh, like, sometimes you want to lose. But, like, going in and being expected to win and then losing, that sucks.
I don't know, man.
Or even winning, but not winning enough.
I feel you. I feel you on it, man. Man, it's so interesting. So many people I've had on that are really big competitor guys that have just such a different mentality on competition. And yours is like one of the more unique ones, I think.
I think a lot of them cover up egos too with stuff, and like they make excuses and everything. It's just so like, why can't we all just be honest? Like, not just in jiu-jitsu, but like like
in life.
the boner thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm on. It happened. Why
yeah.
am I gonna cover it up?
Yo, sometimes you be popping the NRBs.
Right.
Yeah. Yo. Whoa. Yeah, never mind. Oh my God. I think that's pretty good, man. You want to? I think there's a pretty good time to cut it. We've been going for, I think we've been going for quite a while now. Like I think definitely like 2 hours, 2.5 hours now. And you got class coming up. I want to have my shit packed up by then. But like if there's any closing sentiments you want to give.
I just want to say again, Kayla, thank you for everything. She's literally cut weight with me before. Like,
that's crazy.
Now she's trained, but like she cut weight with me.
She trains jiu-jitsu?
Now she does, yes.
That's interesting.
But for the first year, I didn't let her.
Why?
Because I don't like when girls train. That I'm dating.
Yeah.
I don't care if girls train in general, but I'm not into dating people that I'm training with. But anyways, she would cut weight. She would support me, going to all these matches, not knowing anything, sit for hours. She helps me with the OCD. The things that she puts up with the OCD are freaking incredible. And, oh, man, I love her so much. Like, I do this thing where I'll ask her to double-check things.
Yeah.
She'll tell me, and then I'll be like, I'll find ways to trick her. So I'll be like, did you leave the sink on? She'll be like, no. I'll be like, you sure the sink's not on? And then it'll be 5 minutes of that. And then I'll go in and I'll lie. And I'll be like, sink was on. And she'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, you lied to me. You didn't tell me the truth. And then I'll be like, the sink wasn't on. So then I trick her into not
Bro,
knowing.
you're fucking crazy. What the fuck? So if I was like your roommate, I'd be like, bro, no, like, fuck off.
She puts up with all of it, and she loves me for it, and I can't.
You must give some like good foot rubs or something, bro.
Can't thank her enough for it.
Yeah, no doubt. That's amazing, man.
And she's my best friend, and I really don't know where I'd be without her.
Yeah.
And my parents, thank you for everything.
That's awesome, man. I have more questions now.
But the thing is, like, my parents, like, they've done so much for me and everything, and I know not all parents do.
Yeah.
But they're my parents.
Yeah.
I met this girl 3 years ago. After I was already engaged, dating a girl from 2011 to 2018, 6 days later, I met her and told her, I love you. And she put up with my craziness, and, like, she's literally the best person I've ever met and the smartest. Like, I can't date anyone that's not smart or smarter than me, and she's close to smarter than me.
This fucking guy.
And she's so cute. So cute.
That's funny. And adorable.
And adorable.
Outstanding.
And understanding. And she's going to school to be a psychologist or whatever.
Interesting. So she's like tailor-made to
right.
fucking
so this
handle
is
your
good
bullshit.
practice for her. She'll have to
funny.
deal with it in her job. Might as well learn now. She'll have the experience.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
And she has OCD things herself. Like,
is it as severe as yours?
Not.
Just like
she's
different.
better at handling it than I am. Both girls that I dated have OCD. Me and my last girlfriend were about equal with handling it. She probably has maybe even worse than me in some ways, but handles it so much better. She's stronger than me, like stronger than I ever could be. The things that she puts up with and deals with, and like, oh man, she's amazing.
Yeah, that just like, there's some people. A lot of my friends that have like that are dating, like jiu-jitsu practitioners, like some of them like they both go to a different gym. Do you feel like that's? How do you feel about that? Do you think like jiu-jitsu should not be something that you do together because it should be like the time away?
Well, one, like she gets mad at me if I don't want to roll with her, and it's like I don't know how to explain it.
You don't want to hurt her.
I don't want to not hurt her. Like I can roll with her whenever I want.
Yeah.
If I really want to, I say let's go downstairs and roll. But I like to roll with like the people that are the rarest, or like I'll get the least amount of time with, plus who's going to be best for me. So those two things. Even if someone's not as good as other people in the gym, if it's like a rare appearance, or I know, they may only be here for a month or so, I'll get more rolls in with that person than I would the better person, but knowing they're going to be here forever.
That makes sense.
So knowing I could say, hey, let's go and roll at any time, kind of makes me like, we'll do it some other time. Kind of being too comfortable. Now, let's say, like, if we weren't dating, it may be different. Then I would be like, I'll get more rolls with you. But more because we are, and it's like a comfortable thing.
Yeah.
It's because I know I have it there. And it's kind of just like being in a relationship in general. You start to, like, take advantage of how nice someone is just because they're there already and you have it. If they go away, then you start to be
miss
like,
it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually. There's logic behind that.
That's the main reason, like, hey, we sleep together. We could, like, basically wake up anytime we want, come down.
Yeah.
So let's not waste our own time. Let's do our own thing.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to ask one more question, and then we got to cut it. We're pushing it. So you've traveled around to a lot of gyms and trained with a lot of people. I'm just thinking about, like, the sentiments that you just said about, like, the rarity of the experience with rolling with specific people. Where are some of the better gyms that you've been to? Like, can you, like, localize, maybe not even localize them, but maybe say, like, this is common in good gyms, and maybe this is common in gyms I'm not a fan of. Like, for me, I can say the gyms I don't like don't have showers, and that includes Valley. Like, that's
I used to be like that until I lived upstairs.
Must be nice.
But we had old showers at the other gym. But so, like, I like private sessions more than anything. Like, I don't want to go and, like, have, like, 40, 70, 100 people there.
Yeah.
I'd rather one-on-ones. Like, just like hanging out. I don't like hanging out with people in a group, because if I'm hanging out, I want to get the experience of just one-on-one, us focusing on each other. I just want that with the training too. So it's hard for me to get that. I like more sessions like, hey, let's train. I'll come to your gym, blah, blah, blah. And we set up maybe 2 or 3 people. But my favorite gyms to go to, 10th Planet, Bethlehem is my number one. Like, that's
a great one.
Favorite
They're
gym, tons of people. Jam's probably my favorite person to roll with there. And then Andrew Cockle is my favorite person to roll with, like, just in general.
Oh, we got to go into, like, how you met Andrew, too.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to do it. But go ahead.
Andrew is, like, my favorite person.
Like, if you're
overall,
Ash, he's Gary.
He's more like Brock, probably. Because I want to train with Andrew as much as possible. He's the perfect, like, size, perfect style, perfect everything. If I have a room of, like, 5 Andrews, that would be my favorite gym ever.
That's amazing.
But when I train with Andrew, most of the time, it is one-on-one sessions. Like, I'll do his classes sometimes, and he'll come here and do mine, but most of the time, it's just us or one other person. So I don't know if I could say, like, oh, I train at that gym. It's more Andrew. Yeah. It's my pick.
How did you meet Andrew?
So Andrew and I, we met at a tournament where he walked around and, like, he loves jiu-jitsu so much. And it's, like, to the point where I didn't even think someone could love jiu-jitsu that much. So I thought it was more ego than anything. So at this one tournament, 2010, I'm like, oh, I'm going to kick this kid's ass. We were the same weight. Turns out we were not the same age. So he ended up winning expert in his thing, and I won expert in mine. We're walking around with belts. He said a few things to me, like, and I don't think he was being mean at all. It's just I was taking it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was actually interested in, like, the matchups and everything, but I thought he was, like, trying to intimidate me or something, and I'm like, I really want to fight this kid. So a couple years later, I'm like, I'm going to invite him up to the gym, and I'm going to do something. Yeah. I'm going to whoop him. So I message him. I'm like, hey, come to the gym. He comes to the gym. Didn't end up whooping him. It was like a freaking war. It was like an hour nonstop. End up finding out that he is not who I thought he was. He's the nicest person ever. Just loves the sport more than anyone. And we ended up, like, becoming best friends and training nonstop for a good, like, year and a half. And that's when I got really, really into it and good and started winning bigger things, because I was training with someone finally that was my size and my level.
Yeah.
And pushing me.
Man, that's so awesome, man.
We've been in so many things together now. We've never fought each other. And at this point, I hope we never will, because I don't want to really fight him that much.
you guys are, like, practically like
we've
rolled brothers in arms
so
at this
much
point.
now.
Yeah.
Like, I know exactly what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. What's gonna happen?
Either he beats me on points, or I catch him in an ankle lock. Those are the 2 scenarios. That's what's gonna happen. Now, there's a chance that he could beat me or catch me in something, or I could maybe squeak out a 2-point win. But the likelihood is gonna be ankle lock or he outpoints me.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think that's a good point to end on.
Kayla, I love you. Got to get that in there one more time.
Hell yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.